right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live here from Valley Stadium in West Des Moines. My name is Emery Songer. I'm alongside Keith Bornis here for what is a Week 7 district matchup in District 7 in Class 4A between the Valley Tigers and Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. Keith, Valley 6-0. The Abe Lincoln Lynx come in at 1-5, having lost their last 5 contests. Valley been playing very, very good football here in district play to this point, and this certainly should be a matchup in which they are expected to do the same.
Yes, the expectation would be to have a win here for Valley tonight, but you never know what's going to happen. The change in the weather certainly hit last night as the front moves through. So when people are cold and you haven't been acclimated to the weather, who knows what's going to happen? The ball is going to feel different. It is going to certainly bounce different. But, yes, the expectation, Valley does come away with a win tonight.
We are under 40 degrees here, which is hard to believe considering that 2 or 3 days ago we were in the mid-70s enjoying the sunshine. Cold front came in. We kind of dodged most of the precipitation that was sleet and snow. We did get a little bit of rain in the Des Moines area this morning, but most of the all of that was out of town by 10 or 11 a.m. So it has had a chance to dry out, but it still feels very, very cold compared to what we have felt so far this week. You mentioned that it could potentially play a factor here tonight. What are you hoping to see from both of these teams as they try to make that adjustment?
Well, what I hope to see from I'm going to talk Council Bluffs first. They have some really good athletes, some multi-sport athletes. Lennox Brown is in quarterback, junior. He's thrown for over 500 yards. He can move the ball around. So if the grip is there, that's going to be one of the things that the colder the weather, the slipperier the ball seems to feel. And so if he can get a good grip on things, and he's got some people to throw it to. One of them is lined up behind him, is running back who is also the second leading receiver on the team. So he's the leading rusher and the second leading receiver. They're both multi-sport athletes, so they see each other not only in football but in basketball, baseball. I expect them to move the ball around. Now, what they're going to need is time. And I don't know that Valley's defense is going to be wanting to give them all that much time, which they've been very successful this year. So on the defensive side of the ball, when we're looking at Valley, I expect to see a lot of pressure coming in, and I expect them to – we always talk about reestablishing the line of scrimmage 1 yard deep, and then you get your head on a swivel and start trying to find where the ball is. Valley's defense, they've been doing that all year. So if they can continue to control their gaps and move in, it's going to put some pressure on Brown, and Fichter's going to have some problems running through there as well. We'll just see what the temperature does as far as the feel of the ball, but I expect them to try to move that ball around. I expect Valley's defense to really put the pressure on.
Yeah, and it's going to be one of those nights where the less you have to throw it or feel like you have to throw it, the better off is going to be, considering that we are around the 37-degree mark right now. It very well could be cooler and colder than that by the time that we finish this game up later on tonight. So we'll give you a little bit more information on both of these teams, let you know what they've been up to, take a look at the district standings, and also let you know what the RPI standings look like as they have been released for the first time from the Iowa High School Athletic Association. All that coming up next for about 15 minutes to kick. Valley taking on Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln right here on CISN.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology.
We're back here live at Valley Stadium getting set for what is a Week 7 matchup. It's District 7 in Class 4A. Valley so far has been dominant within this district, and I think everybody kind of expected that coming in. If you take a look at what the district standings look like, Ames also 2-0 along with Valley at the top here, but those are the only 2 wins Ames has been able to muster. Again, that's really all that matters. If you can compete in district play, you're going to have a chance to make the playoffs.
That's right. And, Ames is one of those teams that likes to move the ball around a little bit. Coach Verton does a great job up there. But they've kind of played on the lower side of the district so far. Last week at Urbandale, I was very impressed with how Urbandale moved the ball around. But they almost, in that game, moved the ball around too much that I actually felt like our defense was sitting there and could wait for the ball because it stayed behind the line of scrimmage just a little bit longer than normal. And so they have a little bit more what we call a longer developing play. And so they still brought it and had a great defense. They were ready to go. Valley just warmed down as the game went on.
Yeah, and our Urbandale and Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson, who Valley's already beaten as well, 1-1 both in the district and 3-3 overall. And then this Abraham Lincoln squad that's here from Council Bluffs and Des Moines North, both 0-2 within the district. Abe Lincoln is 1-5 on the season, and 0-6 is Des Moines North. The only win for Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln came in their first week of the year at Sioux City North. That was a 29-18 victory, but losses to Denison Schleswig on the road at a very good Lewis Central team, who I think is the favorites to win in Class 3A this year once again. They lost on the road at Sioux City East 37-0, then lost to open up district play at Urbandale, at home against Urbandale, I should say, 56-0, and then at Ames last week, 58-21 was the final, with Ames getting the victory as well. Now, for Valley, it's been the one thing that you wanted out of your schedule if you were the Valley Tigers is that your non-district gave you some challenges, knowing that last year you were able to run through this district, expecting to run through the district again, but a very difficult non-district play. And we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, but at Southeast Polk, here at Valley Stadium against Dowling, at Cedar Rapids Kennedy, and then here at home against a Waukee team that a lot of people had high hopes for coming into the season. To rattle off 6 straight wins, including those 4 in the non-district, very, very impressive, and that has set Valley up with a number 2 ranking right now in the RPI.
And, you talk about the RPI, and it's a very – nobody is ever happy with trying to figure out who's going to be in for playoffs, who's not going to be in, especially teams right around 15, 16, 17, because that gets jumbled up quite a bit. And we're talking about almost thousandths of a point separation between 14, 15, 16. And number 17, you're going home.
Right.
So the way the RPI works is you're going to take the top 16 teams. The first 7 are spoken for because all of the district champions go in.
And sometimes you can have one of those weird situations where a district maybe produces a district champion that's outside of these top 16, and that would actually steal a bid from one of the top 16 teams.
It certainly does. And on the other side, you're looking at a district that could potentially get 4 in because of the at-large bids that go on with the RPI. So everybody it's all based on 3 things: your own record, your opponent's record, and your opponent's overall record. And so the Iowa High School Athletic Association has this scale that's down. It's different than the AP top 10, as the Register and Gazette and Max Preps all have Valley ranked number 1, but they're number 2 when it comes to the RPI. And so Cedar Falls right now on top with a stronger schedule.
Yeah, and we'll kind of break that down a little bit next, but we'll also take a look at what keys to the game are as well. We'll go ahead and step aside when we come back. We'll give you all of that. Kickoff about 10 minutes away right here live from Valley Stadium on CISN.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury. Whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
We are back here at Valley Stadium. The marching band getting set for what it will be a big day tomorrow with Valley hosting Valley Fest. We'll talk about that a little bit more later on in the broadcast here. But the Valley Tiger football team taking on Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. A heavy favorite of the Tigers tonight, 6-0, taking on the 1-5 Lynx from Abraham Lincoln. We do want to touch a little bit on the RPI system before we get to your keys to the game, Keith. The RPI system, if you're unfamiliar with the formula, it's a simple formula, but it changes radically on a week-to-week basis. The 37.5% of the pie is your winning percentage, so basically your win-loss record. Another 37.5% is what your opponent's record is. So you tally up all of your opponents and what their record is, helps kind of determine the strength of your schedule. And then the last 25% of that, it results in you having an opponent's strength of schedule. So it's a three-piece formula, but every single week you're going to see a lot of fluctuation in that. The most important thing that you can do is win your games.
Yep.
But the second most important thing you can do is hopefully your athletic director and your football staff can put together a schedule in the non-district with those 4 non-district weeks where you're playing some challenging opponents that will help elevate your RPI situation. So we did allude to the fact that the 2 unbeaten teams here in Class 4A, Cedar Falls and West Des Moines Valley, both sitting 1-2. Cedar Falls has a slightly higher opponent's winning percentage. The opponent's win-loss record is pretty minute for the most part between a lot of the good teams. But just having a 28 and 26 record for opponents for Cedar Falls versus a 26 and 28 record for Valley's opponents. That's the difference right now between the first seed and the second seed. Now, being a top 4 seed is really what you want if you're a Class 4A team, because that results in 2 home games, assuming that you're still in the playoffs before you head to the Dome, where you basically everybody's on the same playing field, and that's the goal for the Valley Tigers. Now, if you're looking down the list a little bit, Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln at 1-5 right now. They've played a pretty tough schedule. 30-24 are their opponent's record, but they're sitting at 31st out of 42 teams here in Class 4A. So that kind of gives you an idea, and you alluded to District 2, which could very well produce 4 playoff teams based on the RPI. They're district champion, and then, of course, they have Ankeny Centennial, Southeast Polk. They have Roosevelt in there, and Fort Dodge also could play their way in, and Fort Dodge is currently sitting in 12th going into this week. So that tells you kind of the difference in some of these RPI situations for some of these teams.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. I was reading looking up online, and the Gazette's already put out their first. This is what we think is going to be as far as the first round of the playoffs is going to be in. They have Valley finishing out the year at 9-0, and they would host a 6-3 Roosevelt right now. So it'll be very interesting because of that district, 4 teams that are so, I would consider, evenly matched when it comes to head-to-head competition.
I did see Centennial play Southeast Polk, and I am not going to lie to you. I was having a blast watching that game. It had kind of a collegiate feel to it, a lot of good tackling, all of those teams very well executed, and they run different styles of offense, which makes it really fun when they get together. And Fort Dodge takes on Centennial tonight, so that'll be a matchup that if Fort Dodge can win that one, you could almost pencil them into one of those playoff spots because that's going to help them tremendously in that as well. For our particular matchup here, Keith, let's go ahead and go through some keys to the game here. I know that Valley, a big favorite here at 6-0, taking on a 1-5 Lynx team, but you want to see good execution here. What are some of the keys for both of these teams?
Well, you take a look at Abraham Lincoln to start with. They're going to have to rely on their conditioning to stay in the game. Of the 22 starting positions, when you look at offense and defense, 22 total spots. 15 of those spots are filled by guys that are going both ways. So you're going to have to rely on your conditioning just to stay in the game. As far as Valley is concerned, they're going to need to continue to read their keys defensively so that way that they're in the game as finding the ball. If you're a linebacker and you got to read your guards back to the running backs, make sure you do that. We're a gap-control defense. Stay in your gap. And as far as the offense is concerned, you got to finish plays.
That was a huge key for you a couple weeks ago, and they executed to perfection as they were able to run the other Council Bluffs team in this district, Thomas Jefferson, off the field quickly in that first half. We'll take one final break, come back with the opening kickoff. Valley hosting Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln right here on CISN.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
The other guys, they think they know what special means. At Godfather's Pizza, we do special, and we do it better. We add the T. There's a Godfather specialty pizza with your name on it. Classic combo, all meat combo, hot stuff, taco, yeah, even veggie and more. All of them piled high with the best toppings and 100% real cheese. Treat yourself special. Order specialty pizzas from Godfather's Pizza.
It's time for Valley High School football on the Central Iowa Sports Network. CISN.TV is the state's premier source for high school sports streaming.
Go to the fullback, Wilcoxon. Big hole! He breaks to the open!
Valley football on CISN.TV is brought to you by Schottenkirk Chevrolet, Shields, the Better Business Bureau, Central Bank, and Mid-American Energy. Now let's go to our CISN.TV crew for Valley High School football.
We're back here at Valley Stadium getting set for the kickoff between two teams in District 7 in Class 4A. The undefeated Valley Tigers taking on Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln on what is a chilly night here in the middle of October in West Des Moines. A fun night here. We talked about it being homecoming a couple of weeks ago in the last home game that Valley played against Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. This one is Heroes Night, salute to service, so there is a little bit more of a a festive feel when it comes to celebrating our military and those who serve our country, and we give many thanks to them throughout the night as well. Myself, I'm Emery Songer. I'm joined by Keith Bornas up here in the booth. The booth a little bit more comfortable than those stands are going to be tonight, Keith.
I think you're right. It's we don't have heat up here, but we do have each other and no wind.
No wind is incredibly important. I'm looking at those flags down there in the northeast part of the end zone. It is blowing basically from near side to far side, it appears at least, and I would probably say 10 to 15 miles an hour, and that's going to feel brisk, especially when you're over there. The dozen or two fans that are over there for Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln that have made the long trek from western Iowa, that wind is blowing right in their face.
Right into their faces, and good for them. Thank you for making the trip over and supporting your team. Those of you back in Council Bluffs tonight watching online here, welcome, and it's chilly.
I got my weather app up, and feels like 30 degrees. That's a below freezing feels like here on October 11th.
Yeah, that's more. It doesn't always feel like that when it's rain and in the middle of November at playoff time. That's when you expect to have this cool weather like this. So it does kind of feel like the season is wrapping up as far as the temperature is concerned. But for the Valley faithful, they'd like to see the season extended for a little while.
And that's the thing, too. We have some sense here in the state of Iowa. We move things indoors when we get to those days where we think it's going to be a little chilly. And I feel very, very good about playing football and watching football when it's cool and it's cold. I just think October 11th feels a little bit early for a below freezing feels like temperature.
But if people want to come out to Valley Stadium and enjoy the sunshine, tomorrow's going to be a great day for Valley Fest. And from everything I've seen, it's sunny.
Sunny and mid-50s. So a little bit more seasonally appropriate temperature. Even that's going to change within the next 12 to 15 hours.
That's right. So Josh Waymeyer this morning, they had final band rehearsal as far as getting ready for Valley Fest tomorrow. And they finished up right around 6:45, 7 a.m. this morning. And he said, all right, 25 hours, the first band will be coming off the field. So it's going to be starting bright and early tomorrow, 7:30, and Valley will end the show somewhere around 10 p.m.
Yeah, I've taken some part in some of those Valley Fests as a marching band kid. My wife actually helps out with the Waukee Marching Band as one of the color guard directors, so she'll be here all day long. That's a little short drive, though, as Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln kicks it off. A little bit of a squib kick, and that thing's going to roll, be picked up by one of the up-backs, going to be bringing it up the field and trying to truck through. That's a nice little return for a guy that doesn't typically touch the football on a kickoff, and the Tigers wearing their black uniforms will have the football 1st and 10 from their own 39-yard line. On the return there for Valley, looks like that was Carson Shelton.
The kick that Lincoln had there, very smart play as far as getting it to right in the middle of the field. We've talked throughout the year, what type of a kickoff do you actually want to have? Do you want to try and get one all the way to the end zone with no return, bring it out to the 20, or do you want to have something that's going to be high up in the air that can get your coverage down the field, maybe pin them inside the 20? On this one, they had a nice slow roller to keep people inside the 35.
Braden Catcher is actually going to be taken down on a sack first play from scrimmage. You drop back looking to pass, and there's good penetration there on that far side. It looks like the first man through to make the contact was Austin Elledge, a senior linebacker who came on a blitz, 6'2", 6'2", and 185, and Valley going to quickly get back to the line of scrimmage. 2 wide receivers and 1 back. They're in the pistol here. Catcher's going to quick little hook route, and the ball is caught and then forced out of bounds at about the original line of scrimmage, a pickup of 5 on that far side. And I believe over there that is Jack Johnson. Tough to see some of these numbers. Those kids have them wrinkled up on the front of their jersey.
That's right. Valley kind of in a hurry up here.
Tempo.
Yes.
Interesting. And you talked about that conditioning. That could wear out the defense and those guys that are playing both ways as Creighton Mitchell is wrangled from behind. And this is going to be a quick 3 and out as once again blasting through and making the tackle, Austin Ellich. What a first series for him.
I tell you, it's a great series for him, but he is no stranger to contact. He's a good wrestler over there at
that is a correlation I hear an awful lot.
Yes.
Guys who are front seven players or offensive linemen, the guys who are good wrestlers, they find a way to make it a point to improve their football play as well.
Indeed.
So how about that defensive stand from Abraham Lincoln? First drive for Valley is going to be a 3 and out, and they actually lose a yard on the possession. Here's a little running kick from Ryan New, the punter, and it's going to be a beautiful rugby style, and it is going to roll towards the out-of-bounds line, and it is going to squirt out of bounds inside the 10-yard line, inside the 5 to the 3. You could not draw that punt up better from Ryan New.
That was really impressive, but we've always talked about the rules to the kicking game, and when it hits the ground, it's going to roll, especially now that people have put in that rugby-style kick to especially try and get that done.
Avoid those return men and give your special teams coverage unit an opportunity to down the ball without having to defend against the return.
And one of the things that Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln is going to have to be aware of is Ryan New as a runner as well. We saw just a couple weeks ago, they faked a punt.
Yeah, it would not shock me to see some of that in play as well. Standing inside his own end zone is the quarterback here for Abe Lincoln, and it's going to be a simple handoff. But again, Valley's front seven, we talked about this in the pregame. They are going to be wreaking havoc, and it is going to be difficult for Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln. They cannot keep themselves predictable, I should say, offensively, as it's a loss of one back to the 2-yard line after they give it to Richter, the running back, or Fichter, my bad, Ben Fichter, the senior back.
And you don't want to be in a situation where you do a lot of fancy things back here because slow developing plays just keeps you in the end zone a little bit longer. And Valley, it's not that Council Bluffs doesn't have a decent size over on their offensive line, but when we're playing a gap-controlled defense, you're not going against the person, you're getting in and filling your gaps.
3 wide receivers to the near side, 1 to the far side, 1 deep back, and a little bit of a flinch, and it looks like the umpire is going to be throwing the flag. Didn't see it from either of the linesmen, but it did look like there was some movement. This is going to be a penalty that's going to push it back to the 1-yard line. Our officials tonight, the referee is Kyle Riley, umpire is J.D. Schroeder, the linesman is Chris Andrews, the line judge Wayne Marshall, and the back judge tonight, Des Moines native Logan Weeks. So those are the fellas that are going to be in the stripes tonight, helping officiate this one. 9:20 to go first quarter. Valley went 3 and out and punted on their first possession. And once again, we'll see the same formation, 3 wide to the near side for the Lynx, 1 to the far side on the short side of the field. And this is going to be just a QB sneak to try to get some breathing room, and it will gain about 3 yards back to the original line of scrimmage. The ball did squirt out late, but the officials rule quarterback Lennox Brown down. Brown 6'3" tall, a guy that we kind of talked about a little bit as it's going to be important for him to find targets within the passing game, but he also is going to have to be very secure with the football because he's not going to have a whole lot of time to do anything back there after what we've seen from the Valley front so far this year.
Right, he is a very, very good athlete. He's throwing the ball well. He runs the ball well. The problem is, if he's not having time, his yardage doesn't look great from a running standpoint because he's getting sacked.
It's going to be a little draw, not a bad play call, and they're going to pick up about 7 yards, but they'll be a few yards shy of a first down. On the carry there was Jake DeHarsh. It looked like Blake Underwood was the man on the tackle, but it's going to be 4th and 2, and while it might be a little bit daring to go for it in this down and distance, certainly not from your own 11-yard line.
Yeah, even if you felt like you had nothing to lose,
it's still,
you do inside your own.
Yeah, inside
15.
your own red zone situation. Is the punt is going to be off. This one into the air. Wind, of course, playing some games with it. Caught at the 40-yard line. This is going to be a return set up beautifully by the return team all the way down to the 20-yard line as Valley's Trajan Thornton gets himself a 20-yard return to this near side, and it's going to be basically be 1st and 10 from the 20. So they basically gain the Lynx just 9 yards in field position on that punt. And if you told the coaching staff, head coach John Wolf and his assistants, hey, you're basically going to be giving it to them on the 20, I think he probably would have just tried to go for it and pick up the first down.
Right. But you're still looking at total offense right now? Council Bluffs has the advantage.
Here's a quick handoff straight up the gut, a big 9-yard hole up there for Jaden Williams. The junior running back had a huge day a couple weeks ago here in this building, taking on Council Bluffs' Thomas Jefferson. And he picks up 9 on first down here, and that's a little bit more like what we expected to see from the Valley offense.
Get a good surge from the offensive line. And, you bring in the emotional bruising back that has some pretty good speed. Jaden Williams can turn things around here.
Here's another handoff to him, and he is going to be driven backwards. They're going to say that forward progress was stopped back at the 18-yard line. And once again, great penetration on that far side. Some explosiveness being shown. Among those in on the play, it looked like Wesley Harvey was one of the guys that got in there, as well as
Jace Fisher.
Jace Fisher, exactly. So that is not the first time we've seen that in the first 2 drives here for Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. That front 7 making some moves as here's Ketcher. He's on a naked boot, and he's going to get crushed back at the 30-yard line. Coming on a linebacker blitz that time was Anthony Oberlin, and he all of a sudden pushes Valley back to the 30-yard line, and it's going to be a 4th and 20.
Now, you ready for this? Oberlin, senior, first year out for football. He looked like he had some experience there.
He came off the line and nobody touched him.
That's right.
And he did not fall for that play action on the naked bootleg at all. He definitely showed some experience there. Now, this is kind of in that no man's land. With the wind the way it is, this is a long field goal, about 47 yards or so. So Valley's going to keep the offense out there and try to convert on 4th and 20. Catcher in the gun, takes the snap, drops back, got a little bit of time, fires it over the middle. It's over the head and picked off. This interception, Ben Fichter, the running back, he's playing defense, and he's going to return it back to the 21-yard line. And the Lynx, a little bit of pep in their step here. They have forced a punt on a 3-and-out, and on 4th down they get a pick of Catcher. And all of a sudden, with 5:56, we're over halfway through this first quarter, and Abraham Lincoln definitely looks like they belong on this football field.
Absolutely. They certainly showed up ready to play. And, you think about, we talked about it earlier. You go ahead and go for either a 3-and-out. You punt the ball. You're trying to flip the field a little bit. Between last series and this one, they've picked up almost 20 yards as far as a starting position is concerned.
And Braden Catcher basically had to throw that ball 20 yards down the field to try to pick up the first down. Otherwise, it would have been a turnover anyway. They actually gained a few yards of field position with the interception. Quick handoff to Fichter here off of left tackle, just about 1.5 yards picked up. But if you wanted to see a little bit more competitiveness, remember a couple weeks ago, Thomas Jefferson from Council Bluffs came over here, and by this time it was a 3-score game already. Valley had been running them off the field pretty quickly. But the Lynx here show no signs of that happening here early on, knowing a big underdog. But they definitely looked the part here in this first quarter so far, and they have allowed negative yards on 2 drives for the Valley Tigers.
This is maybe a wake-up call as the offense standing down there getting some instruction as they wait to get back on the field.
It's a handoff right up the gut, and there is Oberlin on the carry. Oberlin going to be tackled for a loss of 2, and it's going to be basically 3rd and 10 from the 22-yard line. This is going to be the key. While the defense for Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln has looked awesome the first 2 times that they've been out there, the offense is – yes, they gained 7 yards on 1 run, but other than that, they haven't been able to show that they can move the football at all.
And there's a few guys that haven't come off the field yet.
Exactly, and that's what we're talking about. Oberlin, you talk about Fichter, who had the interception. He is the regular back. Of course, the quarterback here, Lennox Brown, only is the quarterback, but most of those linemen as well are playing both ways. Here's a snap out of the shotgun, rolling to the right, looking down the field. The toss is caught. No, it is not. It is ruled incomplete. The intended target here on the near side is Chase Ritchie, the leading receiver coming in on the season for the Lynx. That one would have been short of the sticks by a few yards anyway. And again, the punt unit and Fichter will be back to boot it away once again here to Valley. And Valley is very dangerous in the return game as well. Maybe that's what it's going to take to have to pop it open. We talked about Trajan Thornton with the 20-yard return last time. We'll see if they try to kick it away from him here. 4th and 10, 4.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Fichter, we're going to let the play clock wind down. He'll take the snap. This is just a more conventional punt. He's going to punt it to the other direction toward the sideline, and that's well done. It squirts out just around midfield as he punted it away from
Nate Lasher.
Yeah, Lasher was the man on that side of the field, but He punted away from Trajan Thornton unpredictably after the 20-yard return last time. So right at midfield is where they're going to spot the football with 4:23 to go here in the first quarter. Valley with the ball for the third time, a 3-and-out and a punt, losing 1 yard on that possession. They lost 10 yards before throwing a 4th and 20 interception down near their own red zone. So
looking for positive yardage, maybe going back to finishing plays.
And the one big positive play they did have was a straight and obvious play. You gave it to Jaden Williams up the A-gap, and he was able to fight for 9 yards. Creighton Mitchell is the deep back. They do have a fullback in there with 2 wide receivers as well on 1st and 10 from midfield, and it will be just a little counterattack, cutback play. And busting it up the middle is Creighton Williams, and he is gone. He's going to have a 50-yard touchdown, Creighton Mitchell.
Now,
little cutback action, so it wasn't just a straight line downhill into the A-gap, but it was right up the middle, no gadgetry, broke a tackle in first contact, and ran away from the rest of the defense. And despite having some struggles here in the first quarter, once again, you give it to the big playmaker, Creighton Mitchell, gives 6 on the board for the Tigers.
Well done. And what ended up happening is the defense actually thought they had him wrapped up and stopped playing. Mitchell didn't.
And we saw plenty of big plays from him a couple weeks ago against the Thomas Jefferson team, as the big military cannon is here after the touchdown, and the extra point from Aiden Feldman makes it 7-0 Valley. We'll take a quick break and be back with the kickoff. Valley 7, Abe Lincoln nothing here on CISN. Seven 0 a 50-yard touchdown run from Creighton Mitchell after Valley had struggled to move the football first couple times they had it. Sam Ridgway is going to kick off for the Tigers here. 4:11 left here in the first quarter. My name's Emery Songer. Keith Bourne is up here in the booth with me as we celebrate the first freezing feels-like temperature of the fall season. Feels like 30 degrees here with the wind chill, 39 degrees the actual temperature. At the 10-yard line is Fichtner. Victor going to try to cut it back, crosses the 20 to the 22, and looks like the ball came out at the end of that. Valley says they have it. The officials converge on the play. They'll take a look at it. And it will be Valley football. So we did see a couple of great defensive possessions from the Lynx. Offensively, they moved it a little bit, but didn't pick up any first downs. They gave up the big running play to Mitchell, and on the ensuing kickoff, fumble it on the return, and sets up a 1st and 10 from their 22-yard line while the Tiger offense comes back on the field.
Now, what Council Bluffs needs to be thinking out there is, hey, we've stopped Valley. We can do this again, rather than just be, all right, here we go.
Yep, and here comes the slippery slope, and you know that could very well happen knowing what they're up against. As here is going to be a fake handoff. Catcher will keep it himself, takes first contact at the line of scrimmage and falls forward for a pickup of 4 to the 18-yard line. Giving them a few different looks here. Like a couple weeks ago, we kind of saw the little just pitches and sweeps and just trying to hit the hole hard. We've seen a little bit more gadgetry in moving some guys in motion and some fakes and play actions, but Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln has done an excellent job in reading and diagnosing those plays, so it'll be interesting to see if we see more read option like that to try to get them out of position. 2nd and 6 from the 18-yard line now officially in the red zone. Mitchell, look at that first step explosiveness. He's inside the 10. He's inside the 5 and down to the 1. When he puts that foot in the ground and decides that he's going to make a cut, he is back to full speed almost immediately.
And there are not very many backs that can do that. If you're watching this as a young, aspiring running back, it is truly that getting that foot into the ground and pushing yourself off that is going to be the difference in your running.
Mitchell runs right into his quarterback catcher. A little bit of miscommunication there on the handoff, and he's back to the line of scrimmage and nothing else. And you can see Abe Lincoln doing a much better job of tackling on first contact there. Among those in on the play was Caleb Blaney. Quentin Bradley also in the mix, a sophomore playing that linebacker position. They do have a fullback in there as a lead blocker, but the quarterback and running back shouldn't be running into each other on the exchange. This looks like they're going to stretch it just a little bit. And Mitchell, there it is again. Once it just put that foot in the ground, goes north and south, and hops over the goal line for his second touchdown of the game.
We need to be careful when we say hops over things, because in high school you cannot jump over. You can't hurdle people. But when the athlete is on the ground, you can go over an athlete who's on the ground.
Yeah, you see guys at the professional level especially always trying to make those highlight reel hurdles, and that is a dangerous play if you're hit in the air. We saw it from T.J. Hawkinson a couple weeks ago for the Detroit Lions. Got a concussion by landing after being tackled mid-leap. So extra point added by Aiden Fellman makes it a 14-0 game. Valley a couple score lead. We'll take another quick break. 2:48 to go. First quarter. Valley by 2 touchdowns on CISN.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
The touchdown from Creighton Mitchell from a yard out, as you can see lining up in the offset I formation of this replay that happened just a few moments ago. Mitchell gets that foot in the ground on the stretch play and hops over the goal line for 6, his second touchdown of the game. Short kickoff here from Ridgeway. It's going to be returned and back to about the 22, 23-yard line. Plenty of Valley Tigers in there. One of them looked like he had the tackle wrapped up but was keeping him up while allowing some of the Tigers to come in and try to punch that ball out. But he's able to hold on this time. It's going to be 1st and 10 from their own 24 for the Lynx.
The tackle initiated halfway in between the hash marks and ended between the hash marks and the numbers. So that play got extended, almost 12 yards, but didn't make any ground.
Right. They push him laterally, but we're keeping him up as they try to strip the football. It's something that you teach. If you have the tackle secure, that second guy needs to be coming in there and trying to force a turnover. That's something they did on the last kickoff return. So with the offense back out there for the Lynx, wearing those white uniforms trimmed in red, they got trips to the near side. One wide receiver to that far side, and in the shotgun is quarterback Lennox Brown. Brown, a little screen pass. It's caught by his favorite target, Chase Ritchie, but Ritchie's going to gain maybe 2, but before being driven backwards after the catch. First man in on the play, Carson Shelton.
Chase Ritchie is the leading receiver for Lincoln, as he's got 171 yards on the year. He had one game where he brought down 84 yards against Sioux City North, so not too bad for the football, soccer, basketball guy. Multi-sport athletes.
You heard Matt Campbell. I don't know if you heard his remarks earlier this week about multi-sport athletes, but he said, look, that's what's wrong with society and some of these kids now is that they're specializing too early. Mm-hmm. Need to try to get themselves out there for more sports to keep them versatile. Here's a quick little handoff looking up the middle, nothing doing there for the running back. This one, the handoff went to Martez Hayes, and Hayes lost a few yards. So they did gain 2 and then lost 4 here, and it's going to be a 3rd and 12 from their own 22-yard line. And now they're going to have to go down the field a little bit to try to move the sticks here with a minute and a half and counting to go here in this first quarter.
Blake Underwood was in on that tackle, and he's a guy that understands a little bit of contact, a ranked wrestler for Valley, as he's gone in and had several tackles this year. But leaving the field right now for Valley is C.J. Stillman. He kind of Underwood tackled Stillman and
caught in the crossfire with some friendly fire. Brown steps up, and he's going to look to run for it. He's at the 25 to the 30, and he's going to be a few yards short, it looks like, from where they mark him out of bounds. He's a pretty big dude. 6'3" is Lennox Brown. He's taller than several of the star quarterbacks in the National Football League even. But they're a couple of yards short, and they're looking at the sideline like they might try to go for it here, and I can't blame them on 4th and 2. Punting hasn't really gotten them a whole lot of yardage back in the field position game, and just giving it back to Valley without trying to convert here. I like this call here from the coaching staff.
Well, yeah, the last couple of plays, the only reason that Creighton Mitchell hasn't run for 1,000 yards is because the football field's only 100 yards.
3 wide receivers to that far side. Brown under center. He's trying to draw him offside. Now he's going to look around, go to the check. Only 3 seconds on the play clock, and they are going to draw him offside. You can see Jake Coleman from the middle in that defensive lineman position, kind of putting his hands on his helmet. He's like, I knew that's what they were going to do, and with 1 second on the play clock, bid on it, and that's going to give them a first down via penalty. I don't know if they even had a play drawn up there, Keith.
No, it is all about trying to draw them off sides, and then even if you have to delay a game, you're still going to punt it away. But not now.
It worked out for him. The Lynx able to take advantage of an undisciplined play there by Jake Coleman, and you knew he immediately was like, he got me.
Yeah.
That happens at all levels of football. You even see some pros making that mistake sometimes. It's just kind of a habit.
Yeah, but you put your hands on your helmet because you know it's going to come up in the film.
Oh, absolutely. Here's going to be a quick inside handoff as well. Great job. 5 different black jerseys rallying to the football after that handoff. It's going to be back to the line of scrimmage and nothing else for the back, Martez Hayes.
That is one thing that is preached all the way through freshman football all the way up. Coach Mitchell starts right away and starting to yell, hey, we got to have 11 hats to the football, 11 hats to the tackle, 11 hats, be part of the team. Get in there and help your buddies out.
Jake Grandquist and it was in on the tackle as well as C.J. Stillman that time, and that will wrap up our first quarter of play. Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln looked pretty strong the first couple of series that Valley had the football, but the Tigers have broken through. They lead at 14-0 after 1 right here on CISN.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology.
Back with the start of the second quarter, 14-0 Valley. It's going to be 2nd and 10 here for Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln on their own side of the field, and this one through the hands of the intended target on a little bubble screen on that far side. Valley had read it well, not sure how many yards it would have gone for anyways. Looks like on that far side, Seth Frush was the intended target, but that sets up now another 3rd and 10. And we saw a little bit of scramble action from Lennox Brown, the QB, last time he was in a 3rd and long situation. We'll see what they kind of draw up here.
Yeah, he is he's a good football player. He's a good basketball player. Knows how to lead a team.
3 wide receivers to the near side here. And Brown takes the snap. He's going to roll to his left. Now he's looking to run and nothing doing. Coming up, closing in from that linebacker position, Blake Underwood makes the sack. Loss of about 5 on the play, and that will force the Lynx to punt. It's kind of a delayed blitz there. He basically was spying on the QB, kind of floated with him, and when he saw him scramble out to the left, Lennox Brown's a right-hander. For him to throw an accurate ball, he had to kind of stop, reset his feet, and that gave plenty of time there for Underwood to make the sack.
And there are times that when you're playing a team that you feel like you should be beating up pretty well, sometimes you can over-blitz yourself and get in there and push upfield too far and take yourself out of the play.
12 men are on the field here for the Lynx. The 12th guy came on the field late. Obviously some miscommunication there, and then after the snap, they went ahead and blew it dead because nobody ran back off the field. That makes it what will be a 4th and 20 now. And, again, conceding a little bit more field position even before Fichter is asked to punt it away. Much better effort last time for Fichter on the punt, but he's got a couple of dangerous return men back there in Lasher and Thornton. He's standing at his own 14, takes the high snap, boots it away quickly as the rush was coming. It'll bounce a couple of times, and Thornton bobbled it, and he's going to be brought down immediately after picking the ball up. Among those in on the play, Jacob Duncan was in there, as was Miguel Rodriguez, who was the first man there on the play. Good coverage, and that's a great job by Fichter, considering that the rush was coming from the edge, just kind of got his foot to it as quickly as he could.
Yeah, he did, and it was an end-over-end kick. That thing was going to roll for a while.
And so a good play there by Thornton, but he did bobble it initially, which would have been the worst-case scenario for Valley. You know what I love? I love seeing a fullback in the game.
Yes.
I love that old school football. They got the fullback Jack Yentzer in there as the lead blocker with the deep back. They'll hand it to him, and he'll follow that lead blocker. And nice coming off the right tackle inside the 40 down to the 36-yard line for Jaden Williams. That's his biggest run of the game. And another nice pickup here of 21 yards.
Garner in on the tackle there. He's their fourth leading tackler out on the field. He's got 25 and a half tackles this year. And Garner, multi-sport athlete again, track and baseball. So certainly understands the team concept.
Two wide receivers, another deep back. They're going to run away from the lead blocker this time, and Williams will be tripped up. Ball will be spotted after a gain of 5 at the 31-yard line. Tackle made by Martez Hayes. Talk about these guys going both ways. Martez Hayes got a couple of handoffs that last series offensively, and then immediately here is in on the tackle, tripping up the deep back Williams.
And Valley playing a little up-tempo football here.
Another offset eye. They ran away from that lead block last time. Now they're going to throw. Catcher drops back, puts his foot in the ground. Nice accurate pass. Caught at the 20-yard line. Jack Johnson brought down there. On the tackle this time was Jacob Duncan, and that'll be another 1st and 10 here for the Tigers, who are now starting to move it with regularity.
Yeah, starting to get into a nice little rhythm here. You got a swirling wind out there, and sometimes you don't know what to do with that. But as I take a look at that swirling wind, I'm going to do a quick little shout-out here to my wife. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Bornis. Here's a quick handoff. Williams tries to go up the gut, just runs over the tackler and was brought down on the spot. The man there was Quentin Bradley. He said, "I'll eat it," to bring the tackle. He could not. He was kind of covering a gap, could not make contact moving forward, so he knew he was going to get run over and just wrapped up and made sure he made the tackle in the process, a gain of just 3.
We'll take a look at personnel here, comparisons here in just a little bit as far as what they've done in individual games.
Catcher drops back. He's going to throw to this near side. Johnson again on the catch. He's got another 1st down inside the 10. He's reaching for the pylon, and the ball popped out. I think he's over, and he is. It's going to be a touchdown catch from 17 yards out. Jack Johnson from Braden Catcher. 3rd touchdown in a row here for the Valley Tigers.
Nice job by Jack Johnson. Started moving back just a little bit as he was trying to gain ground. We don't always like to see that from the coaching side of things, but he finished it off with his 5th touchdown of the year.
It'll be Aiden Feldman to try to add the extra point. Catcher is the holder, 2 for 2 so far with 9:12 to go here in this second quarter. He did move backwards, but it helped him elude a couple of defenders, and the extra effort got him across the pylon. Feldman's extra point is on the way, and it is good. 21-0 the score. Valley over Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. 9:12 to go in the first half. We'll be back with the kickoff right here on CISN.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's the touchdown catch. Johnson dodges a couple of different Lynx defenders, and as he was diving for the pylon, nearly lost the football, but got credit for the touchdown, and rightly so. Well done by him, working extra hard for that 17-yard touchdown catch from Braden Catcher. And it'll be a kickoff here for Valley, leading 21-0 on Heroes Night, a salute to service, and you saw that cannon go off. My goodness, they brought out the heavy artillery for this one.
I knew it was there, and it still made my heart beat a little.
Oh, look at this return right up the gut, breaking free near midfield before being brought down from behind. Excellent return by the running back, Ben Fichter. He caught the ball at about the 15-yard line, a little short kick. That wind kind of knocked it down, and he just shredded right through the Valley return coverage team, and this is the best field position for the Lynx so far in the game.
Ben Fichter is no stranger to successful plays. He rushed for 217 yards against Denison Schleswig, and he had 133 yards receiving against Ames.
He's a guy that can eat up those yards, and this was in the return game. 3 wide receivers to the near side, dropping back is Lennox Brown. He's going to throw. The ball was tipped, but it's still going to be caught for a pickup of 5. Good concentration by his receiver, Nicholas Garner. And that'll bring up a 2nd and 5. Now, see, first down has not been a good down for the Lynx so far in this game. They have struggled to move the ball at all. So now a 2nd and 5, a very welcome sight for this offense, and opens up the playbook a little bit for the coaching staff.
It sure does, especially if you're going to be throwing the ball a little bit. And Brown is no stranger to throwing the ball. Last week against Ames, he threw for 238 yards through the air. And so we know he's got some accuracy. We know he can throw the ball. And he's also a runner, so he's kind of a dual-threat guy.
There's going to be a quick handoff up the middle, but immediately filling that gap was Jake Coleman. And it's going to be no gain, maybe a loss of a half yard.
You know, the one thing about making a mistake and jumping off sides, last series that he was out there, the rest of the night, you try to make up for it, so film's not so bad.
Yeah, he did a good job tackling the running back Martez Hayes there, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 6. So much for the playbook being super open. This is obviously a lot better than the 3rd and 11 they had last time, and they'll try to do something here. 3 wide receivers to that far side, including in the slot is Fichter, and Lennox Brown is going to be in the shotgun. They are in Valley's territory for the first time tonight. Looking to do something. Low snap. He digs it out. It's got a little bit of time. He'll roll to his right. Now he's going to step up, look to run. Makes one man miss. He's across the 45, trying to reach for the first down, and I think he got it. Excellent effort from Lennox Brown, and he does. He needed 6 on the play. Ends up picking up 8 to the 38, and that'll move the chains for Abraham Lincoln.
You have to be impressed with the scrambling ability of Lennox Brown. He's a guy that's going to be able to extend the plays. When you extend the play as a quarterback, that has kind of been a difficult thing for Valley's defense to manage.
It's going to be 1st and 10 from the Valley 38. Excellent work there. He looked like Fran Tarkenton on that on that scramble there, eluding guys and then making the extra effort on the sideline to make sure he crossed that first down marker and giving his team a new set of downs. He drops back looking to throw, fires it off balance. This one high tipped by the intended target. That's Fichter, but unable to bring it down. That's a dangerous throw for a quarterback. He knew the pressure was coming and kind of threw it off the back foot, slinged it across the middle. It wasn't a horribly inaccurate ball, but it still was a dangerous throw nonetheless.
Yeah, and Fichter is only 5'10". I shouldn't say only 5'10", but he played like he was 6'4" there. He was up in the air, head and shoulders above everybody else, and Valley doesn't have what I would consider a small defensive backfield.
And if he doesn't touch that ball, that very well could have been an interception.
Right.
So he did a good job of just getting a piece of that and not allowing a Tiger deep in that secondary to make an interception. 3 wide to this near side. Brown in the shotgun again. He'll look to throw. This one's going to be a screen pass to the near side, and it will be dropped. It was a little bit of a wide throw that time from Brown. He was looking for Ritchie on the play, and that'll bring up a 3rd and 10. So back to 3rd and long here for the Lynx after doing a little bit better job of getting ahead of the sticks last series.
You know, that was a nice job by Mason DeBrava on the defensive side for Valley. He was able to come up and take that lead block on and get him forced back into the backfield, and that disrupted Ritchie's ability to make the catch.
We'll go empty here, 5 wide, 3 to the near side, 2 to the far side. Lennox Brown takes the snap, just a 4-man rush. He's going to try to come out of the pocket. He's not going to have any time to get rid of it. The line held up for a second, could not hold up long enough to get a man open down the field, and a sack converging on the play. Looked like that was Jake Grunquist, and he was joined in there.
Nasir Washington.
Washington, indeed.
Now, if we ever get a shot at Nasir Washington, this kid has lived in the weight room over the year, and he looks like a specimen when it comes to being a prototype defensive line football player.
6'3", 230 pounds. That is a grown man. Washington just a junior, but he came from that far side on the end, and then he was joined on the near side by Jake Grandquist, who did a great job there of helping finish it. And it looks like timeout is going to be taken by Abe Lincoln rather than take a delay of game here on what will be 4th and long. We will keep it here for the moment with 6:34 left in this second quarter, 21-0 Valley the lead. I have been impressed, however, with Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln and the energy and effort they have brought here, knowing they're undermanned, considering that most of these guys are going both ways, but also the fact this is a 1-5 football team that has struggled on the field this year, taking on what many believe to be the favorite to win the title in Class 4A.
Absolutely, but they got to be a cold weather team. They've been used to. It was over there last night before it was here. They had a whole day to acclimate themselves.
You're saying they've made friends with the cold front
That's right.
quicker than the Central Iowans have. It's an interesting theory. I'm not sure I'm there with you, but
it might not hold much water.
Victor's going to come out here, and he'll be punting. He stands at his own 43-yard line. Back to receive is the Trajan Thornton and Nate Lasher combination we've seen throughout the game thus far. The snap, this one nearly blocked. This one might have actually gotten tipped at the line because it was a knuckler off of his foot, and it's going to end up being extremely short. In fact, they're only going to gain about 3 yards of field position, and I think that is it's pretty accurate to say that one was indeed blocked. Mm-hmm. They were close to blocking it the last time. This time he was a little bit slow getting it off his boot.
Yeah. I do want to just do a quick shout-out to Council Bluffs area just in general. Everything they've been dealing with this weather and road closures and flooding and getting the weather before we got it.
It's been a wild year for them out there.
Yeah, we do think about you, so good luck with everything.
Jack Johnson out of the slot makes the catch and is going to be wrestled down at the 30-yard line. A beautiful pass on that little streak route from catcher, and the 30-yard line is where they'll mark it. Man on the tackle eventually was Martez Hayes, but Johnson has been the target so far in the pass game for Valley.
He certainly has, and I think Lincoln was able to get away with a little horse collar there. They changed the rule on how the horse collar works. We can talk about that later.
Here's a deep throw. Catcher looking to drop it in the bucket, looking for New, just a little bit too long for him. And the coverage wasn't too bad from Fichter out there, but you can see catcher trying to drop it in the bucket on what would be a long 30-yard pass play. And in this cold weather, no easy feat there.
No, it's not, especially with the swirling wind that's going on. The flag
That was
has gone
close.
every direction.
Yeah, it has. And it's mainly blowing from near side to far side, which makes that throw even harder because that's going to flutter that ball while it's in the air. But that was close to being a completed pass with no real room for error on this near side. Going to go with that offset eye look once again with the deep back Creighton Mitchell. He's going to be getting the handoff here. He's going to make one cut, crosses the 30 inside the 25, spins off a man, and will be taken down at about the 21-yard line. Tackle made by Lennox Brown.
Take a second long to make a very third and manageable here. Creighton Mitchell is a lot of fun to watch because you're not really sure where he's going to end up.
His cuts are unbelievable,
Yeah.
how fast he can get out of his cuts.
And Jaden Williams, when he's in, fun to watch because he just likes to run over people.
Yeah, he is much more north-south. They're going to hand it to the fullback here, and he's going to have the first down inside the 10 down to the 8. Jack Yenser's been throwing all those lead blocks, and he gets fed here on 3rd and 1 and picks up a nice gain of 13 yards.
Guess what?
What?
Standing behind you right now is the man, the myth, the legend. Josh Waymeyer, Valley Marchmaster, is getting ready for Valley Fest tomorrow. I think he brought his sleeping bag because he's just going to hang out here, and when we leave, he's going to take it over and get things set up.
Here's going to be a pitch. Mitchell trying to stretch it outside. Now turns it upfield and will be taken down. There's going to be a flag behind the play. We'll see Lennox Brown was kind of saying, hey, I was held or pushed out of the way in the back, and that's what it's going to be called. So the Mitchell run that went for 5 yards and was brought down at the 3. Instead, they'll be bringing it back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. How about that? Lennox Brown is the one drawing that flag defensively.
Yeah.
I mean, I talked about Lennox Brown typically as an offense-only guy, but he's been out there the last couple of series as a defender.
Yeah. You know, in this game, you got to make sure that you have your best players out there, and Lennox Brown can certainly play on both sides of the ball. Because of that, Valley ended up getting the penalty. It's not just a 10-yard from the spot penalty. It's a 16-yard penalty.
Because you lost the 5-6 yards that you had on the carry.
That's right.
Instead, it'll be 1st and goal from about the 18-yard line. 5 minutes to go in the first half. They're in the gun. 3 wide receivers, tight end, Mitchell the back. Catcher now throws it underneath to Johnson. A little jailbreak screen look. He's going to try to get to that far side. Nobody's there. It's now a race to the pylon. He's going to stop and run over a man into the end zone. Nick Garner tried to catch him on that far side. Johnson knew he had the angle on him, and he said, I'm just going to put my shoulder in you and run through you to the end zone. That's going to be an 18-yard touchdown on a little screen pass. Braden Ketcher to Jack Johnson, his second touchdown reception of the game, 27-0 Tigers.
We have both seen a lot of those jailbreak screens before, but that is the absolute slowest developing screen I have ever watched.
It actually was so slow, it allowed the Lynx to over-pursue to this near side and gave him the angle to try to get to that far pylon. It was a good job by Garner to try to catch him, as that nearly blocked. Good timing on the rush there, but it's still good here from Aiden Feldman, and that makes it 28-0. 4:49 left here in this first half. We'll be back with more after this on CISN.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
4:49 left in the first half. Excellent play call on that jailbreak screen on what was a first and goal from the 18-yard line. Another touchdown reception for Jack Johnson. This one a little bit harder for him to work for, going all the way across the field and running over a man to get 6 and finding pay dirt. Valley has opened it up to a 4-touchdown lead. Abraham Lincoln still, I feel, has done an excellent job of trying to keep themselves in the game. Good effort, as before the kickoff was taken there, the ball had actually fallen off the tee, so we'll do it again.
This brings up a very interesting deal. He followed through and he went ahead and kicked it. So the question that I have is, if a ball falls off the tee, but you continue to move up and kick it,
is it legal?
It must not be.
Well, here's the interesting thing that makes this incredibly relevant. I don't know if you saw the NFL a couple of weeks ago, but Justin Tucker from the Baltimore Ravens attempted an onside kick where he grabbed the ball as like a punter, spun it in the air, it bounced flat, and then he kicked it while it was back on its way up. So that was initially, the NFL said, we're not sure if that's legal or not, as here is a return from Anthony Oberlin. He's not going to gain anything on it. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 26-yard line on their own side of the field for the Lynx. The NFL initially said, we think it's okay, but let us look into it, and now they've said that's outlawed. The ball, when you kick it, has to be on the ground or on a tee when you kick it. So college football has followed suit with that, because I saw a college team attempt it last week as well, trying to increase their chances at recovering an onside kick. So while the ball is moving on the ground, at least from the definition they've given us, if it's on the ground, it should be a legal kickoff.
Right. And now that other part, extra point, PAT, field goal, drop kick, still legal. So
it's a little bit harder with a pointed ball, as this ball is fumbled on the exchange, and I'm not sure who got it. Initially, Valley said they had it, and they do have it. That one was bobbled by Lennox Brown before he was even able to put it into the stomach of his running back, and that's going to give Valley perfect field position just outside the red zone at the 22-yard line. Second fumble recovery for the Tigers in the game.
I caught a reflection in the window as we were watching that play unfold, and I was watching Josh Waymeyer in the back. He was pointing Valley's direction from the start. Not just a band guy, I'm telling you. That guy has got it all.
Putting a lot of pressure on him ahead of his biggest day of the year tomorrow.
Oh, that's old hat to him. He's fine. Josh Waymeyer can handle it all.
Well, now the shotgun, and catcher rolls to his left, sets his feet, fires. It's intercepted. Victor throws, able to make the catch after the throw from catcher, and he gets it right back for the Lynx, and that's going to give them the football after the return to the 32-yard line. He kind of sat in that flat. Catcher, I don't know if he ever saw him the way that he threw that ball, and Victor was ready for it. He able to make the interception. That is the first interception for the Lynx. As you can see here on the replay, catcher, it's a design play. He's got basically one read. He's going to roll to his left, and he's just trying to find that tight end, and Victor just was sat there the entire time, and he threw it right in his gut.
They have not had an interception all year. 2 tonight, both by Victor.
That's crazy. Here's the snap, quick handoff, going up the middle, Oberlin. He's going to fight forward for a couple before Valley rallies to the football and stops him there. I'm telling you, weird things can happen when this weather turns. Catcher, like I said there, it was a little drag route from the tight end that was lined up along the line of scrimmage there, and Victor was basically in his zone coverage, just standing there, and it's almost like catcher never saw him there.
I'm telling you, that extra day of acclimation.
But
we even talked about it. You know, the cold, you just have no idea what it's going to do as far as affecting your play during the game.
Rick Victor is going to take the catch here on a screen pass, and he's going to be speared at the end of the play by Clayton Adamson after being held up by a couple of players, including Mason Dubrava. Flag was down just in front of where the catch was made. I'm not sure if they'll get an offensive pass interference here on Abe Lincoln.
I tell you, it was a hold, actually.
Possible, yeah.
Now, it's kind of funny because, you know, Mason Dubrava does a great job. He is getting everything lined up, ready to go. He's wrapped up Victor, but he's not quite down on the ground. Drew Urach came up and, put a hit on Victor. I'm pretty impressed that he just got up and was able to find the huddle. But not only did he find it, I'm not so sure they won't give it right back to him.
Yeah, he's been the player. Like you mentioned, 2 interceptions tonight for him. One was on a deep fourth down play, and then the one that we just saw here. And those are the first 2 interceptions of the year for the Lynx. Out of the shotgun, here's Brown, pump fake. Now he's going to try to run, and again, the pocket collapses. Jake Coleman's the man who's going to get credit for the sack here. Loss of a few, and that'll bring up a 4th and about 10 from the 32, and the Lynx will punt it back away to the Tigers.
That is a great job by Jake Coleman. Coming in, we have seen that Lennox Brown is an elusive runner. For Coleman to be able to get a good beat on him and finish that play, nice job defensively.
2:45 or so and counting here left in the first half. Valley a 28-0 lead. They're about to get it back. And the punt, this one is tipped again, but is going to land in the gut of Lasher. Lasher to the near side, inside the 40 to the 30, and he's gone if there's no flags on the field. It's a clean play, and it's Nate Lasher returning 52 yards for a touchdown for the Tigers.
Now, an outstanding job by the punt return to set up that wall, but Nate Lasher got his first touchdown of the year last week at Urbandale on a pass, and tonight gets a punt return. That is big, big business for Nate Lasher. Track guy, and only a junior.
And it was a line drive kick, so it made it a little tough on both the coverage unit and the blockers here, as the extra point on the way from Feldman. It is good. 35-0 Valley, the lead. 2.5 to go here in the first half. We'll take a break, come back with the kickoff right here on CISN.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
Low line drive kick taken at about the 45-yard line by Nate Lasher. Breaks the first contact, and the wall was set up, able to break it down the sideline and return it 55 yards for the touchdown return on the punt. Gets Valley to that 35-point margin, which unless Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln able to score here, that will set up the running clock in the second half. The short kickoff is grabbed and returned to about the 33-yard line here for the Lynx. The man on that return, it appears, was Raul Amarias.
You know, you go back to that punt return for the touchdown. One of the things that, you know, as a coach and as a fan, you're looking at it and you're saying, man, that's a great play. Congrats to him. But you know what is really exciting? Trajan Thornton running there right with them, and he's the one that's more excited than Lasher is.
He was basically the lead blocker by that point. You could see his speed, the fact that he was able to, despite, you know, catching that on the run, Lasher was running stride for stride with him with Trajan Thornton. Man in motion here for Abe Lincoln, now down 5 touchdowns. Lennox Brown pump fakes and again is trying to move forward, and he's going to be brought down at about the 26-yard line. The man in the backfield there, Carson Shelton.
And Cale Sampson right there with him.
Cale Sampson, my mistake. The 29-28 looking an awful lot alike when those kids are The front of their jersey's all wrinkled up with all those tight pads they're wearing these days.
And as you were talking earlier, you know, some of these tackles have taken 4 days to get the guy from the initial contact to get down on the ground. But if you were seeing what Cale Sampson was doing, he had them all wrapped up, and he spent 15 swats trying to get the ball out.
They have forced a couple of fumbles in this game doing it that way. Why not to try to get the football back for the offense? Quick little handoff here, and meeting a wall right at the point of the line of scrimmage is Martez Hayes. Among those in on the stop on that far side of the field, Jake Grandquist, Zach Shane are also in on the play.
Setting up a third and not quite forever as Valley takes a timeout to maybe get the ball back and try and get another score here before half.
I think that was actually Javon Hayes who actually made that stop on that far side. The 54 and 84 also look similar. I was seeing a uniform on I'm in a play-by-play Facebook group, and one of the chief complaints is guys will just share pictures of uniforms that should not be allowed. And I saw this one. It was white uniforms with white numbers with a light blue outline. You could not make any of the numbers out. So Valley's doing much better than those guys.
Yeah, and my frozen eyelids aren't helping.
It is below freezing, and it feels like.
Yes.
It's absolutely brutal. It's October 11th.
It is October 11th. But I'm not kidding you when I say in a minute 31 things are going to heat up.
Oh, yeah?
As we get a prelude to Valley Fest. It's happening tomorrow.
You are great at wrapping these things together.
Well, thank you.
3 wide receivers near side, 2 to the far side. It's 3rd and 15 from their own 28-yard line. Brown, a little throw over the middle, caught. That's Victor, and he's going to be right at the chains at the 43-yard line, and I think they're going to give him enough for a first down. They are not going away. They might be down 5 touchdowns, but they're still executing. And, again, they give it to their playmaker, Ben Victor.
And he has been the man. I am really impressed with this kid. Great runner, great receiver.
That was a good, accurate throw, leading him in stride there by Lennox Brown.
I thought it was going to get tipped. He had to throw in between a couple of guys to get it done.
1:15 left here in the first half. Brown now trying to run to the outside, and again, just too much athleticism from Jake Grandquist. He was not going to be able to get outside of him. He tried to cut it back up and then was sacked by Grandquist again on a sack.
You want to know one of the biggest difficulties to overcome for a defense is when you have, after first down, it's 1st and 10, then you go to 2nd and 12, 3rd and 17, they throw a first down. It is a very demoralizing thing after playing 3 real good plays on defense. Number 4 ends up, or 2 real good plays, number 3 ends up being a long first down completion.
Looks like Abe Lincoln's going to be fine just running the clock down here. 30 seconds left. They've run the play clock inside of 3 seconds. Lennox Brown will take the snap out of the gun. He'll roll to his right and will throw on the run. This one is caught, and getting out of bounds on the push is Victor again.
And not only does he make the catch, he makes a great job getting upfield, getting some extra yards. By rights, he was tackled on the 40, but he just kept pushing, gained 2 and out of bounds.
And that will stop the clock. I don't know if that's what Abe Lincoln was hoping for here, but it will give them an opportunity to try to convert another long 3rd down. 3rd and 12 from their own 42, ball on the far hash. They got 3 wide receivers to this near side, 1 to the far side, 1 back alongside the quarterback, Lennox Brown. Brown in the gun, takes the snap. They'll hand it to the back. Again, Montez Hayes. Hayes around right tackle. Tight ropes the sideline, but stepped out after a gain of just 2. And that will force Abe Lincoln to punt it away with 15 seconds to go. So last time the punt return unit was out here for Valley, they were able to take it the distance for a touchdown. I'm guessing if you're Abe Lincoln, you're telling Ben Victor, hey, if you can get this one off in any direction, aim it toward a sideline.
Well, I'm thinking he's just hoping to get it off.
The last couple have been nearly blocked or blocked.
Yes.
Here's the snap. He will get this one off. This is much better. It's going to be over the heads of the return men inside the 20 and then scored out of bounds. His best punt of the night, marked down at the 14-yard line.
I'd be willing to bet that we're going to have a rather conservative play here from the 14-yard line of Valley. If there'd have been a return, maybe get the midfield a little bit beyond, that would possibly change things. But funnier things have happened at 1st and 10 from the 14.
We'll see what Coach Gary Swinson and his staff decide to do here. Up 35-0. You wouldn't think there'd be a reason to try to do anything out of the ordinary with 9 seconds to go.
But you do have your straight-ahead runner, Jaden Williams, in there.
You never know. He's a tackle breaker, that's for sure. They're going to actually hand it off to the fullback once again. And another nice run here, adding to the yardage. That's the second 13, 14-yard run we've seen from Jack Yinser from that fullback spot tonight. And I told you, I love fullbacks. Go ahead and feed that man after all the work that he's done. And after they reset the sticks here, the last 2 seconds will run off the clock, and it will be the half. 35-0, Valley with the lead. We'll go ahead and we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll have the halftime report for you. It is Valley up 5 touchdowns right here on CISN.
The other guys, they think they know what special means. At Godfather's Pizza, we do special, and we do it better. We add the T. There's a Godfather specialty pizza with your name on it. Classic combo, all meat combo, hot stuff, taco, yeah, even veggie and more. All of them piled high with the best toppings and 100% real cheese. Treat yourself special. Order specialty pizzas from Godfather's Pizza.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. Fall is upon us and fireplace season is here, and you need a new Heat and Glow gas fireplace insert. They're the perfect thing to make that old wood fireplace more beautiful, warmer, and easier to use. And right now, Heat and Glow is giving a $200 rebate, making it even easier for you to upgrade that old fireplace. Please come see them today, Fireplace Superstore, 109th and Douglas in Urbandale.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
We might not always know what the day will bring, but some things are certain. The sun will rise and your lights will go on. That's because at MidAmerican Energy, we're obsessively, relentlessly committed to providing you energy when and where you need it, to connecting with you and keeping our communities safe and strong. Because the most important thing we put our energy into is you. We're obsessively, relentlessly at your service.
It's the half, 35-0. West Des Moines Valley Tigers leading Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln Lynx, and that 35-0 score was not as easy as you might think it was going to be. The Lynx came to play here at West Des Moines Valley, knowing as they were a big underdog. I'm Emery Songer, joined by Keith Bornas up here in the booth at the half. Plenty to kind of dissect there for Valley, but before we talk about what the Tigers did well and what they were hoping to do throughout this game, one thing that I was impressed with was the effort that we saw and the execution from a team that does not have a ton of players that they play, a team that is coming in 1-5 on a 5-game losing streak. A lot of fire that we were seeing from the Lynx in that first half.
Absolutely, but again, going back to the multi-sport athletes, and these are the guys that are making the big plays for Abe Lincoln. Very impressive. Lennox Brown, getting it done through the air, getting it done with his feet. But as we talked about, and you made mention to it, Ben Fichter is the real deal. He can do some things, and he has done some things back with handoffs and also receptions, punting, kick returns. Guy does it all.
Yeah, that's one thing that you can talk about with some of these smaller schools as well. When we try to kind of talk about high school football, especially with these schools that have smaller programs aren't able to pull from the same kind of enrollment that a Valley is able to pull from. Really important to have those kids that are dedicated to multiple sports to try to continue to have some success. And a kid like Ben Fichter, the way that he has been playing in this game, 2 interceptions, which are the first 2 picks of the season for this team. They have not had an interception all year long, and were able to get 2 in the first half, both by Ben Fichter in the defensive backfield. You saw him punt. That last punt that he had was a beautiful punt that pinned Valley all the way back inside their own 15-yard line. And also as a receiver, he's been good with his hands, good on his feet. He also is their leading rusher on the season. So that tells you about that kid a little bit. Now, on the Valley side of things, it got off to a little bit of an inauspicious start, a 3-and-out and then a punt, not something that we expected to see a couple weeks ago against the Thomas Jefferson team that, at least in the RPI, they're ranked higher than this Abe Lincoln team is. But overall, when you were thinking about coming into this game, that was a little bit of a slower start than you imagine. Another interception later on, but Valley kind of righted the ship. The defense has been very good, and eventually, especially the offensive line has had their way in the trenches.
They certainly have, and it really was a wake-up call, because I don't remember the last time I have seen a Valley squad after their first 2 offensive possessions be negative yards. Valley's had 3-and-outs before. They've had several 3-and-outs, but negative yards cumulatively after 2 series.
And it was not just like -1. It was like -9 yards.
Yes. And so the wake-up call came, and on that 3rd series, then Valley started to get the machine rolling. And when the offense gets into that rhythm and starts pushing down the field, they really do a nice job. And Braden Catcher certainly does a nice job at the helm there, trying to get people in the right position, making some throws. He does have the 2 interceptions tonight, but he's throwing into a crazy wind, as is Lennox Brown, but it is a crazy wind. It's not anything that people get used to, because yes, there are days that you have the wind at your back, there's days that you're going into the wind, but there are days like tonight where the wind is in your face on one play, and then the very next it's at your back, and then it's to your side on the 3rd play. So you're not really comfortable when the ball's in your hand, especially when the ball is frozen.
Yeah, you're taking a look at some of the highlights of this game both ways, as you see it, one of Victor's interceptions there as well. For the most part, you have a couple of different teams here that have different aspirations. For Abe Lincoln, they're just looking to try to make something happen and play a spoiler here and try to shock the world. And even scoring some points, they have been shut out so far this season. They've played some tough teams as well. They've had a difficult strength of schedule. And at 1-5, that they're trying to build a program, not necessarily expected to do a whole lot against a team like West Des Moines Valley. But for Valley, with state championship aspirations, one of the things that you want to see, like you mentioned in the open, is you want to finish plays and you want to read your keys. You want to stay locked in. Even though you're a big favorite, you could probably get a little bit away with a lot of stuff against a team like Abe Lincoln that you wouldn't be able to get away with against some of the other top teams you're going to see when we come playoff time. But at the same time, it took a little bit to get there, but I think we have to credit Valley and the rest of the staff, considering that we saw a lot of improvement as the half wore on from all 3 phases, the offense, the defense, and the special teams unit.
And that's one of the things that Coach Swenson said right after the Urbandale game last week, is before they even got into the locker room, it is now time to make a decision. What type of a team you want to be? Because if you just want to go through the motions and be, happy with the success you've had so far, great. Let me know. But if you want to be somebody that's talked about in a title type of a conversation, or if you want to be a team that's going to make a great run in the playoffs, we need to know that now, because practice is coming and we have some teams that on paper we should be able to roll over. We can't take anybody lightly. And those first 2 offensive series, maybe Valley did. But they have awakened.
Yeah, 35-0 is our score here at the half. We have a couple of special guests, Brad Rose, the activities director here at Valley, as well as Jason Catcher, father of quarterback
Braden Catcher.
Yeah. I wanted to say
BK.
Jaden, because I've seen a lot of Jaden Williams in that first half as well. But we'll talk to both of them later on in the halftime show. Valley with a 35-0 lead over Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln right here on CISN.
It's Truck Month at Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Up to $15,000 off new 19 Silverado HDs. Up to $11,000 off new 19 Silverado 1500 Crew LTZs. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. Up to $7,000 off new 19 Equinox. Truck Month in Waukee, including up to $15,000 off new Silverado HDs. Huge inventory, but these won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Moms typically get to make a majority of the healthcare decisions for their family. That can be a lot of pressure, but not for me, because I know the choice is ours. For medical tests like MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, and of course mammograms, ask your doctor to refer you to Iowa Radiology. They work around our hectic schedules, they're the best at what they do, and they're so great with my family. They truly care, and it shows. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule an appointment. Iowa Radiology.
It's Valley with a 35-0 lead over Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln here in Week 7 of the Class 4A football season. District 7, the Tigers 6-0. One big reason for that is their quarterback in the play of Braden Ketcher, currently being joined by his father, Jason Ketcher. Sir, thanks so much for joining us up here in the broadcast booth. This is a special season to this point. Early on in the season, you had guys like Southeast Polk, a very entertaining game in that first week of the season, able to win against Dowling for the second year in a row in the regular season. And now in district play, getting to see your kid out there playing. I know this has been quite the journey for him. Can you kind of talk us through what it was like for him, knowing that there was a lot of traffic ahead of him at the quarterback position the last several years?
Yeah, we talked a lot about him just working hard. You know, he's a great kid. He's got a great work ethic. He gets that from his mom and his other siblings and such. And I think the thing for Braden is that he wanted the spot, and he worked hard. He went to camps. He threw. He was out throwing with the wide receivers during the summer. He just put in the time. He put in the work. And, as a dad, I couldn't be more proud. He's a great kid, great attitude, really works closely with the coaches. Always had a great conversation with them about what do I need to improve on, what do I need to do to get better. And he worked on those things over the summer and has found his way into a spot where, every parent, I think, says if you work hard, those things will work out, and it has for him.
Yeah, Keith and I have talked a lot about the importance of being a multi-sport athlete for both the Valley and Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln. We've seen a lot of their players are track or baseball or wrestling stars as well. Your son, Braden, has definitely been one of that. How's, being involved in so many other sports throughout his youth, how's that been able for him to prepare him for this spot?
Yeah, he's played basketball and baseball on top of football, and he's always wanted to compete. And I think that's a big part of being a multi-sport athlete is just getting out there and being able to compete against different levels. The other part of that I always talk to him about is be a role, right? Play your role within that team. Take basketball last year. He wasn't a starter for the varsity. He worked his tail off in the gym with them. Got the Hustle Award at the end of the season, and it's just one of those kids that I'm super proud of because he continues to work. But it's a competition and learning to be a teammate and playing your role to help the team be better overall.
Yeah, so his goals, at least on what I'm seeing, he wants to, play as far as he can in football. Yep. Also wants to go to a good engineering program. That obviously takes some brains as well. And he also wants to be a construction manager at some point and own his own company. Those are some pretty lofty goals for a kid. And he's not the only kid that you also are managing. Got a few daughters as well, Brianna, Bailey, and Bryn as well. And Bryn is a freshman now, I understand. So for you, you have these kids, and of course they're all excelling on the field of play, but they're also, have pretty lofty goals for what's coming next. What kind of advice have you given each of them as they've tried to move their way up through high school and into college?
Well, a lot of sports relates to the classroom, right? You got to put the time in, you got to put the work in, and we've always kind of held them to a higher standard. The C's and the B's weren't what they were focused on, right? We're trying to get the A's, we're trying to get the good grades, we're trying to continue to improve, and I think for each one of them, they've taken that on for themselves. Bailey's worked very hard through her first couple seasons at Grandview University playing volleyball there, and we're super proud of her. She's similar boat where she wasn't the all-star in high school. She wasn't the all-star the first 2 years in college, and now she's getting significant playing time at Grandview at a very good volleyball program. Bryn's youngster. She's a freshman, but she's already working and thinking about basketball and volleyball and is a multi-sport athlete as well. But the classroom comes first. We're talking about you got your homework done, are you on top of your stuff? We're looking at grades. And for Braden, if he wants to go into engineering, he's got to have that good, solid engineering degree. And he's looking at schools that have, and I think he's focused in the right way. He loves football. He loves to play. But he also knows that I want to get a great education at the end of the day, and I want to go do great things beyond that I've learned on the field that I'll apply to life.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting to see how that continues to pan out here. Quintessential Valley Tigers here, the Catcher family. Jason, we appreciate you for joining us. Have fun in the second half of the season.
Thank you.
All right, that is Jason Ketcher. We'll talk to AD Brad Rose right after this, right here on CISN.
Save thousands in Waukee. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. 2019 Silverado 1500 Double Cab up to 25% off. 2019 Silverado 1500 Crew Cab LT or RST up to 20% off MSRP or up to $5,000 off plus 0% for 72 months. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. 2019 Colorado up to $7,000 off or $5,000 off plus 1.9% for 60 months or 2.9% for 72 months. These won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
Schottenkirk Ford Indianola's kickoff event this month only. Take $16,000 off MSRP on every brand new 2019 Ford F-150 Crew Cab XLT 4x4 in stock. Plus, first responders receive an additional $1,000 bonus cash on new 2019 F-150 Super Duty, Expedition, and Ranger. New 2019 Fusion and Escape starting at just $18,999. Ford fans drive to Indianola to buy Fords. A kickoff event. Schottenkirk Ford Indianola. SchottenkirkFord.com.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
We're back here, halftime Valley with a 35-0 lead over Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln, currently being joined by Valley Activities Director Brad Rose. And during the break, we kind of learned a little bit about each other. I'm originally from Ottumwa, and that's your old stomping grounds. And I didn't know this until just now, but I, as a young lad, went to some of the big Camp Rose baseball camps, which you were able to put on.
Yeah, it's nice to meet a fan. We didn't know each other. Yeah, I used to put on those free camps, and I had every little kid in town came to them, and I'm proud to know you have a Camp Rose shirt.
Yeah. No, I was wearing that thing until I got to high school.
That makes me feel really young, really young. Thanks a lot. Second grade then, weren't you?
Yeah, well, I'm still kind of young, if that makes you feel any better.
That's good.
Of course, there's a lot going on in Valley. We can talk about the football team all we want, but that's not the only thing going on this fall. Activities director is a little bit different than what a director of athletics does. Your eyeballs are on a lot of different things, and tomorrow here, the Valley Marching Band, the March Masters, are going to be hosting the biggest marching band festival in the entire state of Iowa, and I'm sure it takes a lot of preparation as well.
Yep, Valley Fest, and Josh Waymeyer, our head of the bands, and all of his crew and parents, they just do a tremendous job. And I know the weather's not slated to be great tomorrow, but we'd love to have everybody come out and really enjoy the band competitions. It's just from 7 a.m. till 11 o'clock tomorrow night. It's nonstop, and they do a great job. It's something that I had never seen till I got up here, and it's just every year it's like, wow, it's just amazing. So.
It's pretty much the pinnacle, I think, of high school marching band in the state of Iowa. And if you love marching band, no matter what corner of your state, you even have out-of-state schools that are coming to be a part of this thing. So that's coming up tomorrow. The volleyball team, obviously, still in the thick of their season with pretty high hopes for what's going to happen later on this year as well.
Yeah, they're right. The sub-states came out. They're ranked third. Last night they swept Urbandale. Really good young Urbandale team. And then they won Tuesday night against Fort Dodge as well. They recently won a tournament last weekend, beat Waukee again, another really good team. Just the Central Iowa volleyball is really tough. So every week they're playing Ankeny, Centennial, Ankeny High, Waukee, Dowling. All those schools are all in the mix. Just got to take care of business. Johnston's really good too. We got them in our district. So Coach Meixel's done a great job. We've got a mix of 3 or 4 really talented seniors that, along with some really young girls that are all volleyball. To tell you the truth, they're just 100% volleyball, and it's just a lot of fun. Boys golf is at state right now. They're in top 10. competed today. Tough day to be playing golf, but they're out there doing that.
Brutal day to be playing golf.
Yeah. Girls swimming's off and doing a great job. Let's see, cross country. We held a cross country meet on our track last night. We been rained out of our cross country meet, so the track coaches here know that I'm willing to do whatever we can in cross country. So we decided to run against Waukee on the track. Ran a 5K on the track, 4 races. That was a lot of fun. So whatever we can do, just a lot going on, and it's just a great place to be, Valley. We got something for everybody.
Yeah, and what's fun about what we got going on here at Valley High School as well is that it does not stop at all. A lot of high hopes for what's going to happen in the winter season as well. And I know as the activities director, you're always kind of looking ahead a little bit. So what are some things that are on the radar that you think people should be starting to kind of pay attention to? I know that we have a few weeks before we even get into the basketball seasons and the wrestling seasons, but I know there are a lot of activities that really get into the thick of things during the winter.
Well, we just had our vocal concert. We have orchestra, band coming up next week. We just got done with our teacher conferences. But in the winter, we've just been really blessed to have really competitive teams in the winter. Our girls basketball team, of course, won a state title last year. Boys are always in the hunt. Travis Young in wrestling and will be solid again. Boys swimming and bowling. Cheer and dances. You can see them out there performing all the time. And academically, if you haven't been to any of our concerts or been to a play or a musical, it's top notch. I mean, everything they do, and we try to have something for everybody, like I said. And if somebody wants to think of something different, we have other things we have going on. We have lacrosse being played all the time. We got lower level sports going on, archery. We got almost 200 kids in archery. It's it's a good town to be in. I'm just telling you, West Des Moines is awesome, and we're lucky here at Valley High School.
Yeah, quite the commercial there from a guy who he's been around the block a time or two, and I might try to see if I can't dig up that Camp Rose shirt eventually and wear that one of these broadcasts. Coach Rose, we appreciate you stopping by here
awesome
from the booth.
Meeting you.
Yeah, absolutely, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you.
All right, so the football team back on the field. They'll be back in a couple of minutes. 35-0 the lead over Abraham Lincoln from Council Bluffs right here on CISN.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. Fall is upon us and fireplace season is here, and you need a new Heat and Glow gas fireplace insert. They're the perfect thing to make that old wood fireplace more beautiful, warmer, and easier to use. And right now, Heat and Glow is giving a $200
We are back here live from Valley Stadium, 35-0. West Des Moines Valley leading over Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. That score a little bit deceiving from how competitive most of that first half was. My name is Emery Sauger. I'm alongside Keith Bornas up here in the broadcast booth. The running clock will be in effect as soon as we get going here until Abe Lincoln able to put some points on the board and try to get this thing within 35 points. But for the most part, we've been impressed with the effort from the Lynx. But Valley also has found ways to kind of accelerate a little bit. Sometimes when you get into the middle of district play, you feel like you're a big favorite against an opponent coming in here. You kind of sleepwalk through the first couple possessions. Might have been the case, but you also have to give credit to what Abe Lincoln was doing those first couple of possessions against the Valley Tigers. But for the most part, pretty much what we expected, at least on the scoreboard.
That's right. And so you think you go back and talk about what the first two series were like for Valley and for Abe Lincoln in the first quarter. It'll be interesting to see how they come out of halftime because they've been inside. It's warmer inside, no wind, and then come back out, and the flags are moving pretty good here. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to the cold air.
Kickoff is received at the 8-yard line here by Abe Lincoln. A little cut to about the 20-yard line by the return man, and the Tigers will converge onto the tackle there, and that's where the Lynx offense will take over. That was Ben Fichter on the return, like he has been pretty much in every facet. He's been the punter, the return man. He's been a receiver and running back. He also has been important defensively with a couple of interceptions. He's been everywhere.
He has been everywhere, and if we were to have a player of the game, I'd certainly put him on that list for tonight.
The running clock is moving. It is still 39 degrees technically, but the wind chill is making it feel like 30. And that wind has been picking up a little bit more as time has gone on. A little screen pass out into the flat looking for Fichter, makes the first man miss, and now he is going to take off toward the sideline, crosses the 35, and will be forced out at about the 38-yard line. Eventually on the stop on that far side, I believe, was Blake Underwood.
A very nice job there by Ben Fichter, as you know, he does make the first guy miss, and that's not an easy task because Valley's defensive backs and linebackers come up pretty sure tacklers. And then Fichter not only he's to the sideline, I'm just going to step out, conserve some energy, not take the abuse that I don't need to take, play another down.
Kadar Lewis also was on that side of the field, forcing him out of bounds. They're going to get it to him again here. Fichter on the little screen pass made the first man miss, and Underwood wraps him up here. No gain on the play at the 38, and it'll be 2nd and 10. It's an opportunity for some other guys for Valley to try to step up here, but it's also an opportunity to try to get something going for quarterback Lennox Brown and the rest of this offense. If you score some points, that clock will stop. And again, people, I think, were expecting one of those ridiculous high school football scores coming into tonight. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, you have to you want to do everything you can to try to get people to be like, wow, they were more competitive than we expected they would be in a game like this.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, it's 3 wide receivers to that far side, 1 to the near side. Lennox Brown takes a snap out of the gun. Now he'll step up. He's going to look to run. He tucks it away. He crosses the 40, angling toward the sideline. Now he'll run over a man and will be pushed out of bounds at about the 47, 48-yard line. He's about a yard shy of a first down. As soon as you thought he was about to go out of bounds, he lowered the boom on a defender on that far side.
He certainly did. I was a little bit surprised at because we've watched Lennox Brown do a great job moving the ball forward, but he doesn't take hits that he doesn't need to take, and he doesn't deliver hits that he doesn't need to deliver. Over there on the far sideline, I think he kind of shocked Kadar Lewis a little bit there. As
he was sniffing that first down marker.
Yeah, he was.
2 wide receivers to that far side, a tight end. Receiver to the near side as well, 1 back. And Brown is going to shift the back to that left side. He's going to hand it to him. And Montez Hayes has nowhere to go. And for 3rd and 1, loses about 4 yards on the play back to the 44-yard line. And that'll set up a 4th and now 5, and they'll just go ahead and kick it away.
That's right. Cale Sampson blew through that gap, and, that's a loss of 4, you said?
Yeah. I mean, it was 3rd and inches there, and I understand what you want to do, but I've never been a big fan of taking a shotgun snap when you need a yard or less. I know that's a comfortability thing for a lot of people, is punting into the wind here is Fichter, and it was not his best effort on that one. Referee on that far side of the field still running up, and he is going to mark it out at about the 45-yard line. So only a punt of 11 yards officially in the books for Fichter, and that'll give Valley the football at their own 45-yard line with 8 minutes and counting here with the running clock in effect. 35-0 Valley with the lead. They're actually going to mark it at the 40-yard line, my mistake.
Readjusted it back.
So 16 yards. That wind on those flagpoles is now moving.
Yes.
I can't imagine being in the stands on that far side, on that Abe Lincoln sideline, and feeling that thing whipping in my face on a night where there is no excuse, Mother Nature, for it to be 30, it feel like 30 degrees out here.
No, there really isn't. And, it doesn't matter what direction the flag is blowing, if it's coming from the north, the south, or the straight west. It is all going into the face of Lincoln on the far side.
Here as Creighton Mitchell gets a handoff from new quarterback Drew Peterson, as some of the second stringers are into the game for the Tigers. It'll be a pickup of 11 to the 49 in Lynx territory, and a first down here for the Tigers. The explosiveness, I think, is it might be the right word to use for some of these players that we're seeing for Valley.
Mm-hmm.
but I just think it's a general toughness and high IQ. A guy like Mitchell knows when to get north-south. He's
Absolutely.
not dancing around too much. He finds that gap. He puts his foot in the ground, and he accelerates through the hole toward the goal line. He's going to get another handoff. He'll stretch it out, and now we'll turn it upfield. Got a little bit of space and a blocker inside the 30. He's going to cut it back the other way into space, inside the 20, inside the 10. Creighton Mitchell putting on a show, 49 yards, a touchdown.
And he did let Mr. Yenser know that he was right there with him and pick up the pace just a little bit. I'm coming through.
I love when you have fullbacks in there that are trying to set lead blocks, and it reminds me of the good old days of football where that running back just kind of pushes them through the hole they want to go through.
That's right.
Says, hey, I know you're trying to set your block up here, but just let me on through. As Aiden Feldman lines up for what will be the extra point. The kick is on the way, and it is good. 42-0. Valley the lead. 6:38 left in the third quarter. We'll take a quick break and be back with more here on CISN.
Every month or so, there's another story in the media about when and how often we need to get our mammograms. Kind of confusing. When this happens, I like to consult with experts. So I called Iowa Radiology. They recommend women get an annual mammogram starting at age 40. They know that it's the best way to detect cancers early and save lives. And that's good enough for me. Visit iowaradiology.com or call to schedule your mammogram. Iowa Radiology, our focus is your good health.
Here's another look at the Creighton Mitchell 49-yard touchdown run. Just found a little spot-off left tackle, and then there's the big cutback, leaving his defenders in the dust. We talk about explosive, but he is an elusive runner as well, and he's also tough as he gets closer to a goal line, as this ball is going to be a touchback, just able to cross the goal line before Victor able to get his hands on it. When you're kicking from right to left, we have seen the punters and kickers get a lot more distance on their kicks this way, although it's a little deceiving from the direction the flags are blowing. You talked about it. It is kind of swirly down there, the way that the stadium kind of opens up, and I mean, when we were looking at the same kicker, Sam Ridgway, kicking it the other direction, I mean, the kicks were landing at the 20-25-yard line. This one went all the way through the end zone.
Yeah, and he's putting the same amount of leg into each kick.
That tells you the amount of wind that we're experiencing here in West Des Moines right now. It is a 4-wide receiver set for Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln. Send a man in motion. Here's the snap. Lennox Brown looking to throw, fires it over the middle. This ball a little short hop behind his intended target. The running clock will be in effect unless Abe Lincoln able to get this thing under 35 points. His intended target there, it appeared, was Lucas Spanier.
It is now favor time.
Ooh.
There are 6 young men down at the front of the student section that we are going to do a favor and not put them on TV because their mothers would not be impressed. As they look cold. No shirts tonight at Valley Stadium.
Deep bomb looking for Fanier down the end, and he's going to draw a pass interference call against Jake Castor. That ball kind of hung up in the air, and Spanger was there. I mean, that's a 6'3" target he's looking for on this near side, and it was a jump ball, and Castor just really never located where the ball was.
Right, and, you know, for a minute there, they were so intertwined with each other, I thought they were playing rock, paper, scissors.
Is that what you do when you're intertwined with somebody?
Well, if you got time. The ball hung up there long enough that I think they got 2 games in.
I'd be interested to know who won.
Well, the penalty marker kind of established.
It's the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
If 15 yards are marked off, now the 35-yard line are the Lynx. Lennox Brown in the gun. Yeah, the no shirt look. I remember when I was a young lad, that never was something I was interested in. There were guys that were, though. Don't get me wrong. This one tipped at the line of scrimmage, and that should be an incomplete pass. It was a forward pass that landed backwards after the tip. Blasting through was Nasir Washington getting the tip. They do have stocking caps to their credit, though. They all are wearing the stocking caps.
They are.
And that student section, I mean, pretty much everybody else is wearing the proper amount of clothing.
I would say.
But again, maybe they just felt like it was going to be a regular October 11th day.
That's right.
And be like, 55, 60 degrees, which you could live without a shirt on. I still wouldn't recommend it.
No, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have children of my own. I don't know what the problem. I don't know how I would react to that. I just probably call him a dummy or something. Lennox Brown, it looked like that's a broken play. He wanted to hand that ball off. The running back blasted out of his position, and the Brown, something came out of there. I didn't know if there was a ball or not. They're going to mark him down after a gain of 1, though, to about the 36-yard line. But the way he looked at where his running back should have been, that wasn't like a play action or a read option. He was like, oh, there's no running back there, and then he just kind of ran for his life until he was tackled on the far side of the field.
And tackled by everybody. Well, 10 of the 11 Valley defenders.
And you talked about this earlier. You want to get 11 hats to the football, and that allows you the ability to try and knock that thing out. They forced a couple of fumbles in this game, have the Tigers, and that's going to be a huge key moving into the playoffs. You want to be able to force turnovers. Brown, a little pump fake, steps up. He is in trouble again, and he's going to be wrangled and tossed to the ground. This time on the sack, Skylar Young.
Skylar Young, great young man, working his way up into varsity football. He is he's been a backup all his career as well, and it's great to see him in there because he gives everything he has in the off season and on the in season.
Ben Fichter again gets the unfortunate task of trying to punt into this wind. He'll punt this one, and it'll die at about the 41-yard line, but dropped by Lasher, and he'll just have to fall on it back at the 37-yard line. So a pretty good case scenario there for Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. Valley will take over at their own 37 after Lasher drops on it after he muffed the initial handle. 3 minutes and counting. That running clock makes these second halves pretty quick when you have this, but we'll see what the offense looks like. It looks like they're going to jog out Drew Dunwald, the third-string QB. We saw him get some action a couple weeks ago as well.
Absolutely, and Jaden Williams back into the backfield.
He's a bruiser.
He is a bruiser. You go from Creighton Mitchell to Jaden Williams, there's just not much relief.
Also a fullback in the game as well, and Williams going to get it, go straight up the gut in between the center and the guard. He's going to gain about 6 and be stopped at the 43-yard line.
You know, anymore, you get yourself into that pile right there in the middle, and then if you can stay on your feet, it sometimes then becomes a who has the biggest line and can move that pile forward or backward, and I'd say that was kind of a stalemate right there.
Alexander Nielsen was the man on the tackle. That is a 6'5", 215-pound senior on that defensive line who was able to make that stop. 2nd and 5, we'll call it, from the 43-yard line. Here's a snap. Dunwald looks at this near side. The ball was through the hands and dropped. It was good coverage on the play on this near side as well. The intended receiver was Zane Johnson, the man on the coverage. He said his name a little bit on the last offense possession, but Lucas Spanger, the 6'3" receiver and corner, also there, made good contact, not allowing Johnson to complete the catch.
Absolutely. That was a well-timed defensive play. If you're not going to be there to knock the ball down, or if you're not going to be there to make the interception, a well-timed hit as the hands hit the ball and the shoulder pads hit the back, a lot of times that ball's coming out.
Line up that offset I formation. It's going to be a little counter handoff here, and Jaden Williams runs over a couple of guys as he picks up first down yardage. He's going to have about 9 yards on the carry into Lynx territory, and it'll be 1st and 10 Tigers at the Lynx 48-yard line. And that's what we talk about. First contact means nothing to him unless you get some meaningful second bodies to the football. He's going to run through anybody who puts a hand on him as he blasts through that hole.
That's right. And, you know, you always talk about if you're going down, make sure you fall forward. And he fell forward 4 yards.
1st and 10, Tigers getting the signal from the sideline. Just 40 seconds left here in this third quarter. Dunwald under center. I formation behind him, offset. He's going to drop back. The lefty looks to throw. Fires to the near side. It is caught by the fullback. And Jack Yinser going to be brought down at the 39-yard line. He's going to be about a yard shy of the first down on the tackle, Ben Fichter. And that very well may be the last play we see in this third quarter.
Great job by the fullback, showing us that not only can he run the ball, but he can catch the ball in addition to the blocking he's done tonight.
Who is that? Moose Johnston in there? I love the fullback. They are going to line up, and they will run another play here and hand it off to Williams going to this far side. He's going to be tackled after picking up a first down, gain of 4. Among those in on the stop, Lennox Brown making the stop for Abraham Lincoln. The quarterback going both ways tonight. 3 quarters in the books, 1 more to play. Valley leading Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln 42-0. We'll be back after a minute right here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.
It's Truck Month at Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Up to $15,000 off new 19 Silverado HDs. Up to $11,000 off new 19 Silverado 1500 Crew LTZs. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. Up to $7,000 off new 19 Equinox. Truck Month in Waukee, including up to $15,000 off new Silverado HDs. Huge inventory, but these won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
$12 minutes left on the clock. The running clock will be back in effect momentarily as soon as this snap is off and running. Valley a 1st and 10 from the Abe Lincoln 35-yard line. They lead it 42-0. Offset I formation. Dunwald, the quarterback still. He's going to hand it off. And again, a little downhill action, this time from the third back, Jalen Crowell. He'll gain 5, maybe 6, down to the 29.
So you take a look at the Valley rushing attack. Individual games. Creighton Mitchell went for 222 yards against Waukee. Jaden Williams went to 119 yards against Cedar Rapids Kennedy. And last time we played here at Valley Stadium, Jalen Crowell went for 130 against Thomas Jefferson.
Wow. Pick your poison, right?
Well, yeah.
He's going to come and try to stretch it to the outside and will eventually be run out of bounds by Spanger. He still was able to fall forward for 5 yards. It looked like he was running along the line of scrimmage for the longest time. Spanger did a good job not letting him turn the corner, but he got enough of that corner to pick up a first down on that 5-yard pickup, and it will be 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Drew Dunwald still in at QB. I just love the fullback. I cannot tell you, in Jack Yenser, it's a dirty job, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not glamorous. 90% of the snaps, you're not touching the football. You're throwing lead blocks for the back behind you, who's going to get all those accolades. But, I mean, it's an old-school physical brand of football. Dunwald firing toward the end zone, lobs it in the air. This one is too far for his intended target. Couldn't quite see who that was he was looking at on that side. Potentially it was Zane Johnson.
I'll go with that.
It's a long ways away. Those numbers are a little bit, like I said, they're kind of.
Yeah, and Valley Stadium is very well lit until you get
to the
off
of
the turf, and then it's dark quick.
On black jerseys, not easy. They're going to hand it off. Crowell cuts it up the middle. Makes a couple of guys miss. He's inside the 20 and will be forced backwards at the 10. A 15-yard pickup for another first down for Valley. Does a good job rallying to the ball. Austin Elledge kind of grabbed him from behind and stopped his forward momentum, but not before he's going to set up what should be a 1st and goal here for the Tigers.
That's right. And talking about the 11 hats to the tackle, all 11 Lincoln hats right there.
They'll line it up. A wide receiver, 2 each side. That I formation. This one a straight I. And again, Yenser is going to get the handoff. That's the 3rd time he's actually gotten the football in the running game. He's also caught a pass. So they have done a good job of rewarding the guy for throwing those lead blocks. He gains 2 here to the 8. It'll be 2nd and goal. And the reason I love that old school football, I grew up watching those Cowboy teams with Daryl Johnston as the fullback for Emmitt Smith, and you of course had the Troy Aikman, Michael Irvin, and just watching those games with Pat Summerall and John Madden talking about the fullback and the importance of the fullback. You just don't see it too much. You see these spread offenses running out of the shotgun and the pistol all the time. Is this run by Crowell down to about the 4-yard line? Once again, following the Yenser block.
You you bring up injury and the way you speak about the old Dallas Cowboys, and you're talking about people that are not named Tony Dorsett and people like that too.
Yeah, Brad Rose was not happy with me talking about my youth either. I'm not joking. I did not know that was him, but I went to plenty of those Camp Rose camps down in Ottumwa, and I was in elementary school indeed. Crowell runs over one of his blockers to get a little bit of daylight, and he is able to sniff the end zone, cross it. His first touchdown of the game, this one from 4 yards away, and with 8:01 to go here in the fourth quarter, it's 48-0 Valley with the extra point to come. It looks like we're going to get a new kicker. This time will be Will Fisher going to get an opportunity to get a point on the scoreboard. I know about Tony Dorsett.
You've heard the name?
I know that he ran a 99-yard run. I haven't.
Yes.
I didn't watch him while he was playing.
Have you ever heard the name Danny White?
I have. He was a punter and quarterback for those Dallas Cowboys in the late 70s, early 80s. As the extra point is good, we'll go ahead and take a quick break. Kickoff coming, 49-0 Valley right here on CISN.
Here's to everyone who believes in competition and good sportsmanship, who knows it's not about the trophies or the medals, but rather the lessons learned. For those who understand, it's not whether you win or lose, just that you give your best. So go ahead, lace them up, take the field, have fun, and play. For the experience, for the memories, for the love of the game. Shields.
Valley 49-0, continuing their dominance here. Abraham Lincoln came to play. They have done the best that they can, but Valley eventually imposing their will. And look at that football. It got blown off the tee and rolled about 3 yards before Ridgeway was able to pick it up and move it back to the tee.
Just to add a little bit about that, as the ball rolled back toward the kicker, the flag was also pointed toward the kicker. So on the ground, the wind was heading north. In the air, the wind was heading south. It's a strange breeze blowing.
Looks like Eli Raridan is going to be asked to hold the ball still so Ridgeway can boot this one away, and sometimes that even takes less of even more distance away from you as you try to kick this into the wind. Ridgeway approaches, will kick this one away, and it's the exact opposite. He actually gets his best kickoff in this direction of the game down to the 5-yard line, picked up by Richter. Victor tackled at the 24.
In a situation like that, it's October.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fall of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to be watching the Great Pumpkin. You just kind of have to ask yourself as a kicker, and there's a guy standing there holding the football, is this guy going to loosey me, or what's the deal?
What would be the consequences for that, you think?
I don't know.
If the kicker's just kind of a jerk in the locker room, do you think the coach just green lights that?
I don't think so. It might be a little bit of laugh time, but it's going to be a lifetime of pain time after that.
I could see that happening in like a backyard football game. Maybe not a Valley Tiger football game.
No, this is a front yard football game.
You're right. With people watching, unless there was some sort of joke everybody was in on before that, you're probably right. Incomplete pass here from Lennox Brown. Running clock still running. I love how you were quizzing me on my 70s and 80s Dallas Cowboys trivia.
Well, yes.
I have a lot of knowledge in my brain that nobody cares about, so I feel really happy when I get an opportunity to show that off.
Well, you're always welcome here, Cliff Clavin.
4 wide here for the Lynx, 3 wide to the near side. Brown takes a snap. He's looking downfield. He'll step into a deep throw, looking down the field. That ball off the hands of his intended target. It was pretty good coverage by Castor on that far side, but Spanger just could not reel it in. That was on a rope as well.
It was. It was a great throw. He, as you said, maybe had a step, but it was a great play all around.
I mean, he fit it in the only window he could have. Jake Castor was in the hip pocket all the way down the field to Lucas Spanger. Spanger did get a hand on it, but wasn't able to bring it in. It is 3rd and 10 from their own 24 for Lincoln. 5 wide receivers. Blitz coming for Valley. This one going to be lobbed toward the air. It's going to be caught at the 50, and now running away is Fichter, and he'll be tripped up by a shoelace down around the 21-yard line. Touchdown-saving tackle made on that. It looked like Blake Underwood dove and made the play. But that was an excellent throw. Fichter able to make the catch. He was in the slot, and it was just lobbed and just beat his man off the line of scrimmage. On the tackle there actually was Ethan Siskowski.
You know, you talk about the record that Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln has, but Lennox Brown has played his best games against some of the Central Iowa schools. Threw for 238 last week against Ames. He threw for over 130 against Council Bluffs Lewis Central,
who is the top team in the RPI in Class 3A.
Yeah, so he knows how to play against some really good defenses.
4-yard pickup on a little scramble here from Lennox Brown. And how about the effort there on the last-second dive by Ethan Siskowski, saving a touchdown from Fichter there.
Absolutely.
And, man, Ben Fichter, the definition of a football player.
I agree.
He has done it all. He comes back in the game after getting a one-play rest after his long catch and run.
And, you know, it is. They have several guys that are playing Ironman football, but he is the epitome of Ironman football tonight.
He has 2 interceptions, plenty of rushing and passing yards. He also has been the punter and return man for these Lynx. As this ball somehow fitting that into Spanger is Lennox Brown, and he's going to be tackled down at the 5-yard line. That was a tight window. We've seen a couple of very accurate balls here on this drive from Lennox Brown, and that one was complete to Spanger, and that sets up a 1st and goal as Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln trying to remove this goose egg off the scoreboard.
And, you know, there's a little bit of excitement as they're working closer and closer to the goal line here. Valley bringing in Josh Yenser, Jack's brother, to fill in a little bit there at the nose.
Here's the snap. Brown, a little fade action to this near side, reaching up and unable to bring it down. It was a close play. Cade Nelson nearly brought that one down. Went on the coverage. Destin Payne, or Pay,
yep.
And Pay was able to wrestle it away from him in the last possible moment.
And Pay may have gotten away with a little push-off there. That was as close to a touchdown catch as you're going to get without actually catching it.
That actually was Caleb Barnhouse, the intended target on that fade route.
And the wind that Brown threw that into, that flag was straight out and into the face of him as he launched the ball.
Here's a quick handoff, a little reverse action, and trying to make a couple guys miss. Trying to find the end zone is Brown, and he's not going to be able to do it. He gets basically to the line of scrimmage as he kind of had a little sweep of his own. You got to – I mean, he's taken some hits, but that was excellent work on the interior by the Valley defense. Just – able to find themselves stretching that all the way out to the 4-yard line, not letting a runner get to that corner.
And you're right. The quarterback is going to be faster than the interior line of the defense. And for Valley to continue to stretch it out, that's all you can hope for. And they did it textbook style there.
3rd and goal from about the 4-yard line. 3 wide receivers to the short side of the field, and they're going to get, I believe, a timeout. And that was well-timed because it looked like a false start was about to be called on Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln. So with 1:58 to go here in the 4th quarter, 49-0, Valley the lead. This is important, I think, for Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln to finish this game on a high note, try to get some points on the scoreboard. I absolutely believe that, even though that the outcome is not in doubt. But real quick, Valley Fest is tomorrow. I think is a good opportunity to mention that one more time. The Valley High School March Masters host what is, I think, pretty obviously the premier marching band event for high schools around the state and even outside the state. Some of the schools outside the state will bring their bands here to West Des Moines tomorrow to be a part of what is over 12 hours of marching band action here on this field.
Now, if by chance you do show up tomorrow and you see a sweatshirt that says VFXL, that is not Valley Football Extra Large. That is Valley Fest 40.
In
as
Roman
it is
numerals.
The 40th Valley Fest.
Excellent. Yeah, my wife will be here. So the
Pick up a sweatshirt.
The Songer contingent will be in play. She is with the Waukee Marching Band, so she'll be here throughout the day. Waukee performs twice tomorrow as part of Valley Fest. Here is a fade to the far side, and it's going to be too far. Looking for his target, Nick Garner was the intended man there, and that'll set up a 4th and goal. One play to try to get this goose egg off.
One more time.
I think pretty obviously, though, you'd much rather have a touchdown than sending a field goal unit out just to get the 0 off the board.
I think that's where I certainly would be in this situation, and it appears as though the Lynx are thinking the same.
They're going to take that offense, move it back to the line of scrimmage. Lennox Brown has 3 wide receivers to the far side, 1 to the near side. He's got a back alongside. He's in the shotgun.
There is a mismatch up to the near side of the field here, height-wise.
Here's Brown, takes a snap. He's got no time. He's going to come out. He's going to look for the goal line. He'll dive for the pylon, and he is in. Touchdown run, Lennox Brown. And that is, I think, a poetic way for one of the Ironmen of this team. He's been playing almost the entire game on defense as well as offense. Did not get listed at a position defensively coming in, but has played most of the game on both sides of the ball. And he is able to scramble out of trouble in the pocket and dive for the pylon and get the Lynx on the scoreboard with just 66 seconds left in the ball game.
A great individual effort there by Brown, but wow, what a great team effort to get moving inside the 20 and then just keep moving forward.
Obviously the most impressive drive to this point of the game. Extra point is on the way, and that one was pushed to the right by the kicker, Miguel Rodriguez. And with 1:06 to go, we'll just go ahead and keep it here. Valley 49, Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln 6. But good for them. The way that they came out, I know that the scoreboard looks lopsided, but they played a pretty doggone good ball game against this Valley side from the very start. Couple of interceptions off of starting quarterback Braden Catcher. Did an excellent job of making him feel uncomfortable. Have never given up on any plays. We've seen different parts of the game in which Valley just has had more manpower, but for several of these guys playing all 3 phases of the game like it's the 1930s, this has been an excellent effort, I think, for Abe Lincoln.
Absolutely, and you can rest assured that both teams are going to be looking at the first 2 series of Valley offense and Abe Lincoln's defense in this game, and they're going to be talking about, Lincoln's going to be saying, we held one of the premier offenses to negative big yards in the first 2 series. We can play with anybody. And Valley's going to be looking at it and saying, we have got to finish plays. We cannot take anybody for granted. We can't take anybody lightly. We've got to move the ball consistently and stay consistent.
1:06 left. You would imagine Valley's probably going to sit on it unless they get a big return here. Lining up for the kickoff. And this one is going to be a little squibber. It's going to be picked up and trying to get to the outside and being tripped up at about the 39-yard line or so. Looks like that was Carson Shelton.
Javasi Williams got that 26, the 28, the 29. I'm surprised you're not differentiating those numbers out so well like that.
It's been a struggle all night, my friend.
Well, from 150 yards.
They're wrinkly on the front of the jersey. It's just no, the back of the jersey looks fine. They're nice and stretched out.
Absolutely.
But those kids got them all wrinkly on the front there, and my bad. This should be the last snap of the ball game. 25 seconds to go. It is going to be Drew Peterson. He's going to little chuck, and he's going to miss his intended target. Looked like Quinn Emerson Clare was his intended receiver, but that should be the ball game.
That
10 seconds. And it looks like the teams are going to line up and shake hands. A final score, the West Des Moines Valley Tigers moved to 7-0. They beat Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln 49-6, the final score here. We'll go ahead and take a break. Come back with your post-game show after this right here on CISN.
Central Bank is proud to support the unmatched spirit of sportsmanship and hard work exemplified by our local athletes. We're fans of high school sports and the way the big game and hometown team rally a community. Best of luck to all of today's competitors. Play hard, have fun, and make something great happen. Central Bank, member FDIC.
You want to get stronger, faster, healthier. You want more. You want to be part of something bigger than yourself. A place for people of all ages, all walks of life, that provides opportunities for all to succeed. We do that. We're the why. Build more than muscle. Build a stronger community.
Hi, Ron here, head coach of Westside Auto Pros. When your car's on the injured reserve, you want to get it back in the game as soon as possible. I know that. That's why you need to bring it here to Westside Auto Pros. I have a team of experts that can fix almost every automotive injury, whether it's a fractured joint, a brake, or if your car just got its bell rung, no problem. We can even do a complete physical on your car to make sure it's game ready for the entire season. So bring your car to Westside Auto Pros and we'll get it back in the starting lineup in no time. Hey, you guys are dogging it back here. Let's move it, move it, move it.
It's Truck Month at Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Up to $15,000 off new 19 Silverado HDs. Up to $11,000 off new 19 Silverado 1500 Crew LTZs. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. Up to $7,000 off new 19 Equinox. Truck Month in Waukee, including up to $15,000 off new Silverado HDs. Huge inventory, but these won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
Final score 49-6. Valley beats Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln here. They moved to 7-0 and moved to 3-0 in district play. 2 more games left in the season against, I believe, Ames and Des Moines North, where Valley will also be very heavy favorites. But it's about execution, knowing that the opponents will, of course, get tougher as we move into playoffs. The top seed going into the playoffs last year was Ankeny Centennial. They were upset by the last team to make the playoffs, Southeast Polk, in the first round. So you know anything can happen. Little bit more to clean up after this game, I believe. You have to give credit to Abe Lincoln for the attitude they brought in here and the way they executed. But eventually, I think some guys that you could shed light on, the guys in the trenches, especially on the defensive side of the ball, were really dominant in this one. And then you got to give credit to all of the backs. You look at Mitchell, you look at Jaden Williams, and even Lake Crowell in the way that he was running the football. Those are guys that are really tough to break down, and that should be something, especially with a guy like Jack Yinser leading the way as the fullback. That should be a part of Valley's offensive game plan that we're going to see more and more as time goes on.
And another fullback that we didn't see tonight, one of my favorites, Tommy Rathman, was not in the game tonight, he's going to be a kid that he'll be a difference maker as well. And so Jack Yenser did a great job coming in and filling in at that position tonight. So as we go through the rest of this season, we have to go back to what Coach Swenson was talking about after the Urbandale game and just challenging the team. What type of a finish do you want to have in this game? In this season, and make sure that each game we are building toward what these goals can be. You cannot take any time off. The first 2 drives of this game showed that anybody can come in and do anything. So stay focused, finish plays, and make sure that you can bring as much intensity as you can to both practice and the game.
We'll go ahead and take another timeout. When we come back, we'll wrap things up and give you some players of the game and a couple of highlights as well. 49-6, Valley over Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln right here on CISN.
Is this guy a contractor who does good work or a contractor who needs work? For a reliable recommendation, trust the Better Business Bureau, protecting consumers for over a century. When you go to bbb.org to check out a business, you'll learn if it's BBB accredited, see its grade on customer service, and read honest, useful reviews from local people. For online recommendations you can trust, start with trust at bbb.org/Iowa.
The other guys, they think they know what special means. At Godfather's Pizza, we do special, and we do it better. We add the T. There's a Godfather specialty pizza with your name on it. Classic combo, all meat combo, hot stuff, taco, yeah, even veggie and more. All of them piled high with the best toppings and 100% real cheese. Treat yourself special. Order specialty pizzas from Godfather's Pizza.
Hi, I'm Chris from Fireplace Superstore. Fall is upon us and fireplace season is here, and you need a new Heat and Glow gas fireplace insert. They're the perfect thing to make that old wood fireplace more beautiful, warmer, and easier to use. And right now, Heat and Glow is giving a $200 rebate, making it even easier for you to upgrade that old fireplace. Please come see them today. Fireplace Superstore, 109th and Douglas in Urbandale.
It's Truck Month at Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. Up to $15,000 off new 19 Silverado HDs. Up to $11,000 off new Silverado 1500 Crew LTZs. We're in a position to give you more for your trade in Waukee. Up to $7,000 off new 19 Equinox. Truck Month in Waukee, including up to $15,000 off new Silverado HDs. Huge inventory, but these won't last. Schottenkirk Chevy Waukee. WaukeeChevy.com.
We're back here. Valley, a 49-6 win over Council Bluffs Abe Lincoln. You're looking at some of the highlights here that occurred throughout the game, including Creighton Mitchell's big run that you're seeing there. We'll let those highlights run while we kind of talk about our MVPs of the game. Keith, go ahead, and who did you really like from Valley's perspective in today's ball game on both sides of the ball?
Offensively, I got to go with Creighton Mitchell. I think that he was the difference maker, the spark plug that kind of got things rolling after those two first stagnant offensive series, and they just kept rolling on that. From the defensive side for Valley, I'm going to put the entire defensive lineup. I thought they were in position all night. They filled their gaps very well, and they didn't let big plays just happen. Anything that Abe Lincoln got tonight, they earned, and they earned it well, which is going to take me to the other side of the ball.
Pretty obvious, I think, who this has going to be.
Oh, man, I tell you what, I am a Ben Fichter fan.
Just saw on the highlights his big catch in that second half. What did he ever come off the field except for the one play after the big reception that he had? I think he was out there for literally every play in all three phases.
Yeah, I don't know how you can continuously get oxygen to a kid who's on the field. I mean, he had to. The halftime must have been some type of a miracle work just to keep this guy going. He was impressive. Iron Man football all night. But I'm also going to put up Lennox Brown because he, too, offense and defense. So they are the co-MVPs as far as I am concerned for Abraham Lincoln, playing some Iron Man football. But we got to give just a little bit more M in the MVPs to Ben Fichter tonight.
Yeah, he certainly was an important piece of what Abe Lincoln's moving forward, and you can tell he just loves to play the game.
Yeah.
A kid like that, he had 2 interceptions tonight. Those are the first 2 picks of the season for this team, and he was able to do that off of a good offensive quarterback in Braden Ketcher. And if you're Valley, those are things that you're hoping to clean up, but at the same time, those are things to celebrate for Abe Lincoln. And also, Lennox Brown, the quarterback, he also played both ways, and he got the touchdown run at the end of the game to get them on the scoreboard, which I think is also important.
Everybody that was up for an MVP, we're going to go back to this. Everybody that was up for an MVP tonight, multi-sport athletes.
It's not a surprise.
That's right.
It's really important to make sure that these kids are doing as much as they can. And if you want somebody who I think most people in the state are really into what he's saying, Matt Campbell earlier this week had a nice couple minutes in his media press conference about the importance of multi-sport athletes, and you should be able to check that out as well.
And so, in talking about checking things out as far as multi-sports and activities and things like it there, Valley. Check out valleytigersathletics.com, and you can get tied right into what is going on with Valley High School and Valley Athletics.
Pretty obvious name there, valleytigersathletics.com. And before we sign off out of here, I know that we saw a good football game here. One of the cool things about watching high school and college football are the marching bands. We saw the Valley March Masters out there tonight, and they are going to be hosting the biggest and I think the premier marching band competition throughout the entire state. Over 12 hours of marching band action at Valley Fest tomorrow right here on this field.
VFXL. Check it out tomorrow.
Valley Fest 40. It's going to be fun. Everybody from around the state and out of state will come and enjoy what should be a fantastic night as well. We got to thank our entire production team, Pete Tarpey and the rest of the gang here at Valley Stadium. Joining us. For my partner, Keith Bornas, I'm Emery Songer. We thank you for joining us. Valley Tigers move to 7-0. They dominate Council Bluffs Abraham Lincoln 49-6. They are on the road at Ames next week before wrapping up the season here at home against Des Moines North. And you've been watching it right here on the Central Iowa Sports Network.